Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special double edition of the Losers Lounge podcast. I say double edition because there are two premium live events we're talking about on this one single episode. Over the last year, I've been going from, taking it from one podcast episode per event to the times when we did 3 events in one episode. That was wild times. But also, especially, we got a lot going on. Especially the fact that this is Money in the Bank weekend in Toronto. Toronto, ladies and gentlemen, hosting Money in the Bank for the first time ever. And, of course, the fact of the matter is that it's not just Money in the Bank. It's also NXT Heatwave. And even it's not just that also. It's also Friday Night SmackDown. And even the day before that, on Friday, July 4th, 4th of July. Well, we're in Canada, so 4th of July doesn't matter. It is none other than Sami Zayn doing a comedy show. And I'm like, stand-up comedy. He's going down the Dolph Ziggler route here. But first, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I want to introduce to you guys, first off, you know this guy very much, my fellow loser, none other than Optimistic Hall of Famer, heel Balor.
Well, I mean, do they really know me? Of course they know me. Hello, I'm the heelest of Balors. I am back. It's great to be back on the podcast. I am tired, like very tired. So I hope I can stay away for this episode. What's up, Christian? How's life? How you doing?
Life has been going good. It has been extremely hot around here, so it's ironic that the NXT event we're talking is called Heatwave.
Exactly. It's like 92 degrees in my state. God help me. But I'm ready to talk Heatwave.
Yep, Heatwave by the bank, and you know it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back a fellow guest of ours who's been here pretty notable lately. None other than Optimistic Hall of Famer, Steep.
Yeah, what's up? I'm glad to be back again. We got a big weekend coming up. It's a big next couple of days for those in Canada. But first, to kick off that, we got the Losers Lounge podcast, and I hope you guys have an incredible time hearing what we have to say.
Yeah. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our other guest who is here, ladies and gentlemen, he's somebody who hasn't been on this podcast for several years, about 4 years at this point, almost. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back all the way from nearby Melbourne, Australia, none other than our good friend, Tyler.
Well, it's actually Bendigo, but I'll be all doing well. I'm doing pretty good myself. I've been busy on my end doing a lot of content creation stuff on my pages and also being involved in sort of the E-Fed type scene, like TCW, for instance, which I know my buddy Mad Dog, he's probably going to be watching this. I'll be doing well, mate. And yeah, but Christian, how's things been?
Things have been going really good. But things are going good for you as well because, well, you're from the town down under.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Grayson Waller is pretty underrated, I'd say. He's really good.
Austin Theory, on the other hand, it depends.
He's all right. Just all right.
Respect rating.
All day.
All right, then, all day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the fact that it's good to have Tyler here from Australia. Steve from, Steve, where the fuck are you from?
New York.
Oh, right. New Jersey. All right.
That's on the other side of the bridge.
Exactly. The shadowy place on the Lion King that you never go to.
Okay, good reference.
And, of course, we
Good
got
reference.
Heel Balor all the way from Mexico.
No, you will. No, never. No. From Alabama, dude. From Bama all the way. Roll Tide.
Yeah, he's from Mobile, Alabama.
Shut up.
Mobile.
You're not
Oh,
funny.
so he lives in a phone?
Who just said wow? No.
No, I think he's from a petrol station.
No.
What the fuck?
Huh? First off, huh? What? Huh? What is that?
Yeah, trust me, I
Isn't
don't.
Mobile actually a brand of petrol stations?
I hate y'all.
All right, but and of course, there's 2 from America, 1 from Australia, and 1 from up here in Canada, which is of course the setting for Money in the Bank. As you guys know, Toronto is without a doubt one of the best cities when it comes to pro wrestling up in Canada, because it's hosted a multitude of events, the likes of SummerSlam, the Survivor Series, even last year AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door, Money in the Bank for the first time ever this year, and of course more notably, 2 different WrestleManias, number 6 and number 18. I've not been to either because of the time. Well, the first one I wasn't born, and the other one I wasn't exactly getting around to going to events at the age of 6. Not to mention, we didn't have much money.
Yeah.
It happens, though.
You probably got the DVD back then.
VHS, actually.
Oh, I had the DVD.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Money in the Bank weekend. As I said before, Sami Zayn's comedy show starts the whole deal on Thursday, so some of you are probably going to go to that, others probably not. I will be at the event. Following day, Friday Night SmackDown, Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. I will be there as well. Maverick, I got 3-day combo tickets, so I'll be in the same seat for all 3 shows, so lucky me on that one. Saturday, Money in the Bank, and of course, main event. Sunday, NXT Heatwave. But despite the fact that that's the last event of the weekend, that's actually going to be the first event we're going to be talking about. So we're going to move things over now to NXT Heatwave. Welcome to bringing on the heat. Heatwave used to be an event for ECW. It was briefly brought back from NXT as television specials, and this year for the first time as an NXT Premium Live event. So there you go for that. NXT's been known to bring back well-known names in the past. Last year, they brought back the Great American Bash for a Premium Live event. They've been also known to bring out Vengeance Day. They also brought back No Mercy last year. And the fact that we have all these great events, and also done in your house, I remember that too. The fact that we're bringing back all these
Halloween
events.
Havoc.
Halloween Havoc as well. It just makes you wonder how many more old names, whether it's WWE's past, ECW, or even WCW. Who knows what we could see next? Could we finally potentially see a Starrcade pay-per-view? Who knows?
I mean, I heard rumors that they trademarked the name Super Brawl, so maybe that could come back.
Perhaps. That'd be something to think about as well. But this, folks, is NXT Heatwave. There's 5 matches to discuss. There is a pre-show match, but we don't talk pre-show matches. It's all good, though. 5 matches, 5 championship matches. So, yeah. We're actually going to start things off by talking the new NXT Women's North American Championship. This match is Keilani Jordan defending against Sol Ruca. And, well, I know for a fact, Willie here, and Steep, of course, a lot more active when it comes to watching NXT than I. Tyler, probably the same as well.
I mean, I do keep up with it as much as possible, but when your sleep schedule is kind of a bit messed up, yeah, that kind of doesn't really help as much.
Yeah, how this happened, though, was Keilani Jordan complimented Sol Ruca and promised to give her a title match. That led to a whole deal with Ariana Grace, and as a result, they had a number 1 contenders match between Sol Ruca and Ariana Grande. Sorry, Ariana Grace. Shut up!
Wait, Ariana Grande.
Shut up!
Hey, Steve.
Thank you, next.
Oh my god.
Thank you,
This
next.
is the part where I break free.
What the fuck did I
Hey.
do? Oh my god. If you guys don't stop, I'm gonna count to 10. Alright?
Okay, Sean Spears.
Oh, great. Well, we are gonna be talking about him at one point. But anyways, Sol Ruca beat Ariana Grace to earn the title match at Heatwave. And I gotta tell you, Sol Ruca lately has been doing a great job when it comes to being part of NXT. She hasn't done much, but she was in that ladder match to crown the first ever North American champion, and she did good. Honestly, she was quite a number of people saying dark horse favorites to win, and I don't blame them for that case. She is a great athlete. Keilani Jordan is the one who ended up winning the match. That was a good match, and now we have this match for Heatwave in Toronto, and you know what, Tyler, it's been a while since we've seen you around here, so I'll actually get started with you. What is your thoughts on the NXT Women's North America title match?
Honestly, I have to say, when it comes to the Women's North American title scene at the Met, honestly, it has very much been overdue that the women's division gets a mid-card title. I mean, after they got rid of the NXT Women's Tag Team titles, it it felt like there was definitely like that ceiling for the talent where they can't really do that much. But now that this belt is here, I think it has helped NXT a lot. And you know what? Out of the two ladies, Kalani Jordan, honestly, I think she's all right. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what her sort of approach is and her character stuff, but she's been doing pretty well for herself, I will say. And I mean, Sol Ruka, I'm definitely been impressed by. I think when it comes to her in-ring style, she definitely gives me vibes of like someone from like the 2000s. I mean, you look at her finisher, it's like this crazy RKO looking move, and it's like she legit is so impressive, like actually impressive. So honestly, I think for this one, while most people would say, oh, you got to give it to, it's like the first defense type thing. Honestly, I think Sol Ruka probably is my favorite to win that match because honestly, I feel like she should have won the match at Battleground Las Vegas, but obviously I guess since this is kind of like everyone's expecting it, so let's switch it up a bit. I think maybe now is the time to give Sol Ruka the belt. She's got that little bit more experience in her now, and I think now is the time to do it.
Alrighty. All right, Steep, we're going to move on to you. Your thoughts on the NXT Women's North American title match?
Oh, well, I want to say I'm a big fan of both these women. Kalani was one of my picks to win back to that ladder match, and I was grateful that she did. Sol Ruka is an incredible athlete, and the way she wrestles, and she can really woo over an audience. She's very charismatic and athletic, and I would want Sol Ruka being the one that beats Kalani. But considering Kalani just won the title, that obviously won't be happening. So, yeah, I have Kalani retaining. But when Kalani is ready to lose the title, I would pass it over to Sol Ruka.
All right. And Heel Balor, your thoughts on the NXT Women's North American title match?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'm going to go piggyback on what Tyler said. You know, a women's mid-card championship in NXT, first of all, is where it needed to start. And, you know, having Kalani join me the first one was pretty cool. I mean, she's really shown and proven herself out there. So she's pretty much earned this opportunity to be the first champion. I've enjoyed it so far. She's been putting on pretty good matches and good storytelling out there. Sol Ruka is amazing. Her finisher's great. She's a great person. She's just all around awesome. I'm very excited for this match, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just one of those matches where it's like, go out there, show your stuff. Just put in a fun match for the crowd and see how they react. And this will be one of them. I do have Kalani Jordan retaining. I don't think she's losing it just yet. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to go with Kalani Jordan.
Alrighty then. We're now going to move on, folks, from one North American title match to the other. This is the men's NXT North American Championship, and it's also known as a last chance match. The champion, Obafemi, who's been champ since literally January, is defending against perhaps a lot of people's favorites as the greatest North American champion of all time, Wes Lee. And honestly, I kind of agree with that one. So, Obafemi Wes Lee. Like, Wes Lee tried to win the title at Battleground. Joe Coffey was also involved. He ended up failing. They both failed. Obafemi retained the title. And now we put a declaration here that he gets the title match against Obafemi, but if he loses, then he can't challenge as long as Obafemi is the champion. Which begs the question, is this really the time for Oba to lose the title? But at the same time, do we really want to see Wes Lee as champion again when he could really be called up? That's the real question. Because here's the thing. Wes Lee, fantastic champion. Then you got Obafemi, who's been champion for half a year now. So it's not like as if Obafemi is in the area where he's like, oh, he just won the title. He's freshly the champion. He's in the place where anybody would be, where it'd be like, okay, you've held the title for quite a length. Perhaps it's a chance you could lose it. Then you have Wes Lee's case. It's a last chance situation. Hey, you lose, you can't challenge for it again. So now that's why I'm saying this North American title match is not only unpredictable, it's also intense. That's the way I would describe it. Like, Heel Balor, I'll start with you on this case. What do you think about this last chance match?
Well,
Well, first of all, this ain't the first last chance match we're going to be talking about on this podcast. I'm very, I'm not, yeah, Obafemi's great. The only thing, I think Steve's going to mention this as well. The only problem with him is that he's too powerful. What I mean is the fact is that he has went through everybody, and there's really nobody left. So we're resorting to bringing back the former champ, which is great. I love seeing Wesley back. I think originally everyone thought he was going to be gone till December, I think, is when he was supposed to be gone. So it's great to see him back and on his feet and doing his thing. Yeah, the thing with Obafemi is that he's just a little bit too powerful. He's at the 100% level of 2K24 out there. You know, he can't be stopped. So this begs the question, like you said, excuse me, are they going to put the title on Wesley again? Do you really want to see Wesley as champ again? Or should he be going after something bigger, or should he be called up? That's the thing. It's like, I don't even know myself what I would do. I'm going to go with Wesley winning the title, I guess. And I'll move Obafemi up to, like, maybe the NXT championship, I'm guessing. So, yeah, I know, like, it's like, well, why would you give the title back to Wes? Screw it, why not? Just give it to him, and then somebody else take it off. Maybe Alexis King if they build him up or something like that. But, yeah, give it to Wesley. Obafemi, he's had it long enough. I think it's time to move on with him as in bigger and better things for him. So I'm going to go with, Wesley to win the title, with or without help.
Perhaps indeed, and you mentioned Steve would mention this as well. Well, Steve, it's your turn. Your thoughts on this last chance match?
I mean, it's similar to what Hill Balor just said. I really think that I love Obafemi. I've loved him since he was in the men's breakout tournament, and the fact that he's a dominant champion is really well because he's that next big, bad monster there ever since Braun Breaker got called up. And the question lies, well, both of them could be doing something a lot bigger. Wesley wouldn't have to win. He could get called up and be on the main roster. Obafemi doesn't have to win, and he can be in the world title picture. So they both can benefit from this if one were to win, if the other didn't. Personally, I really want to see Obafemi in that world title picture. So the best route I would take is Wesley does win it back. And Wesley doesn't have to hold it as long as he did, his previous reign. I really think after Wesley, somebody like Eddie Thorpe could take it off of him, or Alexis King, or someone of that nature. Like, I'm not saying he can be a transitional champion, but just, someone to really, until they find that next person to be in that position that Wesley could be in the meantime, and then get called up. So I would do that and then have Obafemi get, be in that main event scene for the NXT championship.
I mean, yeah, that's actually a good point of it, because, put up some of the domination factor of the North American title scene pretty much gives almost a guarantee that there'll be a dominant factor of the NXT title scene. But at the same time, that hasn't always been the case, because some people have been North American champ, but never actually won the big one. But there have been some who have, like our current NXT champion, Trick Williams. But in the meantime, Tylor, your thoughts on this last chance match?
So, honestly, when it relates to what you guys are saying, it's definitely hard to call with this match because it's like, you've got two ways you can go with this, okay? You could keep Oba as champion and have Wesley go after the NXT title, the brand's world title, and I feel like that could be a good option, but you also have the option of having Wes win and having Oba go up to the world title scene himself. Like, it's definitely hard to play, but you know what? Here's the thing. I honestly am thinking about this long term. I think in the near future, Wesley is going to be NXT champion. And I think by the near future, I'm actually thinking closer to when NXT moves to the CW. Because if you think about it, Wesley could honestly make a really great face of the brand going into the transition to networks, because you're going to have a lot more people watching NXT, because obviously the CW is a free-to-air network. Like, you don't have to pay for cable or satellite. You just pop in your antenna and you can watch it, compared to where NXT's on currently, which is USA. And I think Wesley would make sense to be the face of the brand as the world champion. But obviously, to do that, you're going to have him lose here. And I know for a lot of people, they probably don't want to see Wesley lose, but honestly, Obafemi's been really good. Like, yeah, he is definitely kind of like that Uber final boss type thing, but you know what? I think that works for him. Like, having someone unstoppable would make it so that whoever beats him actually has that bit of a special feeling. I mean, just look at Gunther and the IC title reign. Like, obviously with that, it's a bit of a different case with the titles, but it's still the same principle. A top dominant champion looking top and dominant.
Like, yeah, it's a good point with that.
It just makes sense.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point when it comes to Gunther. Like, longest reigning Intercontinental champion. Then once he lost the title, and then about a month and a half later, he wins King of the Ring, and now literally in a month from now, exactly 1 month from now, he's challenging the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. He's transitioning from the mid-card title, and he made the mid-card title look like the title to actually fight for. Champion for as long as the number of the beast, 666 days. My God, something tells me that was on purpose.
Probably.
Probably was. When there's an opportunity to do that, I'm like, might as well do it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Obafemi will win here, just so we can get that transition going for Wesley. But honestly, whoever can beat Obafemi, they will look like $1 million. That they will.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want, after all this domination fest, you don't want someone to look like I don't know, like, oh good, he beat Obafemi, but then all of a sudden he just becomes a crap champion, you know what I mean?
It's like,
exactly.
It's on the purpose of like beating Gunther, obviously, what Sami Zayn did. Like Sami Zayn didn't need to win and beat Gunther. But it's what it is, you know. It's benefiting a little bit from Sami Zayn, and like Tyler said, I think it'll benefit a lot, someone from beating Obafemi.
Perhaps, yeah. Let's see. Steve, Heel Balor put in some input on that. Do you have like an input on that comparison?
Honestly, I do see it, because you see how there's been times where the mid-card title has felt more special than the world title. It happened a lot. It still happens a lot, and it's, you know, there could be time the world champion is here, or the world title is on the wrong person. Maybe it's on a part-timer, and that's why they can't be here. I mean, you see how much Cena really elevated the U.S. title when he was doing all the open challenges and stuff. That was the title that, you know, a lot of people were fighting for. And every week we look forward to U.S. Open Challenge from Cena. I think Obafemi has been doing the same. He's been making the NXT title, the North American title, feel like the top prize in the brand. And that's not on the NXT title, but, you know, we talked before about this. Trick's reign hasn't really amounted to much, and it's really been like, you know, his reign has been lackluster. So I would say, yeah, the North American title at this point in time is more prestigious than, you know, the NXT World Championship.
Yeah, like, I think at times, you know, depending on who is the champion of those top things, this is why I always think to myself that those who are really on top of their game in every sense of the word should only be the world champion, rather than everybody gets a world title match or everybody gets a world title reign. And then, you know, you got, I mean, obviously, you know, you had Gunther as the top Intercontinental champion at the same time where Roman Reigns was both WWE champion and Universal champion. And he made the whole deal at times look a lot more prestigious than the freaking W Undisputed Championship. But a lot of that,
the Uwu belt.
A lot of that had to do, of course, with the fact that, well, that Roman Reigns was absent for a lot of times and Gunther was never absent. And that's why there was like a big change in that case. I'm not saying Trick Williams is like that, because he ain't taking absences here. But Trick Williams, in comparison to the last number of NXT champions, which is Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, and Braun Breaker, it just honestly has not amounted to that area yet. I mean, there could be time, but at this point in time, you know, like, we're 2 months into his reign, and if you're 2 months into a title reign and it's the top championship and it ain't looking as amazing as at the top of the world as the North American title, which is supposed to be on the mid-card region, down lower in the middle of the mountain, at the top of the mountain, it might be a little bit of an issue here. But I'm not saying, of course, Trick Williams can't pull it off. I'm pretty sure he can absolutely pull it off. We'll be talking about him in a little bit, but when you have a mid-card championship kind of look more prestigious than your world championship, that's when there could be a little bit of a booking issue here. But hey, we've seen booking issues all the time. This is professional fucking wrestling. There's booking issues everywhere, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
We go ahead, we dissect them, and we talk about them, and most importantly, we have a good time. Like, I love this back and forth little conversation we're having about Obafemi as the North American champion, putting in our inputs and making comparisons. I not remember the last time we made comparisons of said subject on other things. So thank you, guys.
That's what we do.
Absolutely.
Breaking down shit like DX. Break it down.
Break it down.
Yeah.
Break it down. And evolution is a mystery.
Classic
I
stable.
mean, when you're someone like me who's done like commentary on like E-Feds and that kind of thing, you always got to make comparisons at times.
Yeah, I guarantee at this point we're probably going to make more comparisons. But in the meantime, I'm pretty sure everybody put in their predictions here. I also think Obafemi's going to retain his championship. I also realized I did not predict the women's title. I forgot to mention. I think Haylani Jordan's retaining hers. I was too focused on you guys. I didn't realize I did not put mine in. That's my bad, but I thankfully realized it on the spot, and I quickly put it in before anybody would get on my ass and say, hey, what about yours?
Yeah, all good.
With that being said, we're going to move on now to the next match. This is for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The champions, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, are defending against former NXT Tag Team Champions, Chase University, Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, who will be accompanied, of course, by Thea Hale, Riley Osborne, and Ridge Holland.
Chase you.
Chase you.
Ooh.
Now, I'll be honest, not the biggest fan of Chase U. That's just me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my god!
Really?
The fuck, Willie? Oh my god! I mean, I get that you agree with me, but whoa!
He loves Chase you. He's lying.
He exploded all over me. Wait, no. Let me try that again.
Oh.
Yeah,
watch for the shoe, mate. Watch for the shoe.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways, though, Chase University is challenging the NXT Tag Team Championships against Chase U. They want a tag team turmoil to get through this, and I actually like that pretty much almost all these championships going on here were all earned or put together as a result of a storyline, because that's what it's supposed to be about. Because anytime there's a title match where everything is just randomly placed, it just doesn't feel right. Which is why sometimes, no offense, some of AEW stuff is a little weird. But we're not talking about that. And folks, for the record, sorry again that there was no podcast talking Forbidden Door. There was a lot going on for me behind the scenes. Got a lot going on, whether it was doctor's appointments or other shit, family shit, that whole shebang. But you know what? Life hits. But I'm glad to be here. In the meantime, back to the subject at hand. Nathan Frazier's taking on Chase U. And Steve, I'm going to start with you on this one. Your thoughts on the NXT Tag Team titles?
Although, when predicting the championship match before, I was really hoping that the OC, the Good Brothers, were going to be the one to take them. I think they've been really improving while being in NXT. I mean, it's a whole lot more than what they're doing at SmackDown. But obviously, on Battleground, that was not the case. So, honestly, here, I would give it to Chase U. I think it's time. I like Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They're great together. But I honestly prefer if they'd, maybe be single competitors, or maybe if, I don't know, they team up every once in a while, or they could be in each other's corner or so. But I really think they could stay as singles guys. So I would definitely have Chase U go over on this one.
Yeah, me personally, I still question myself why Nathan Frazier and Axiom lost to Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin just to win the titles literally 2-3 days later. I never understood that part. But you know what? That was then. That was then, and it was still stupid. But you know what? Shit happens. It is what it is. But, Yo, Ballard, I'll go with you as well. Your thoughts on the NXT Tag Team Championship?
I don't really care, I guess, for this match. It's not because I'm a big fan of Chase U, obviously. It's just the fact that Nathan Frazier and Axiom really haven't done much because, well, me and Steve and the boys have talked about this before. NXT's tag division is not really there right now. It's just kind of bare because they're not really, there's just not much, if that makes any sense. They could be doing a lot more. And Axiom and Frazier, you got the whole thing with, I believe it's Frazier, who is kind of trying to want to do single stuff, bro, you're tag team champion. Why do you care? Like, I don't know. It's just there, I guess, for me. I do have, I don't know who I got winning this, honestly. You can go either way. Screw it. Freaking Chase U, I guess. Whatever. Just get over it. Chase U. Like, Frazier and Axe have been doing nothing. Put it on Chase U, I guess. There you go.
I gotta tell you, like, I've heard you only this unenthusiastic when things did not involve Finn Balor. Those were the days.
Wow.
But
does Andre Chase look like he could play Doctor Strange?
Exactly.
Not gonna lie, I never really noticed that until now.
Neither did I, and now I see it. But when it comes to the likes of, you are right on point when it comes to this, because like tag teams who are doing single stuff, I'm like, that makes no sense, especially for the tag team champions. Like, anytime that is going on, it doesn't make any sense, because you're a tag team, you have those tag titles, you should stay in said division. It's like, a quarterback in football deciding to be a receiver. I don't even know what that means, actually. I'm not a football guy. I am so sorry, folks. I'm not an American football guy. I said American football because we have an Australian here.
I mean, you're kind of right. Yeah. You're just switching positions.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like when you're a tag team, you're supposed to be with your teammate. Otherwise, what the hell's your teammate doing? Just sitting around waiting for you to come back saying, "Are you done with this side quest of yours?" And then, boom. But in the meantime, Tyler, your thoughts on the NXT Tag Team Championship?
Oh, man. So, to be honest, I actually really like both teams going into this match. I mean, Chase U, honestly, probably one of the better gimmicks to come out of the whole 2.0 mess. Like, honestly, I think Chase U has been probably one of the most fun things on NXT programming. And honestly, when I got back into watching NXT after all the 2.0 stuff had fizzled away, honestly, they became one of my favorite acts immediately. And no, I'm not biased because there's an Australian in Chase U. They're just good. Like, I really enjoy their humor and that kind of thing. And look, it may not be for everyone, of course, but I can vibe with them. Like, I absolutely can. As for Nathan Frazier and Axiom, honestly, I actually really like the both of them. Like, Nathan Frazier out of everyone is impressive. Like, he's really good. Like, he is really good. Honestly, I could see him being North American champion sooner rather than later, or even Speed champion. Like, I know Speed has kind of been his side quest as of late, but you know what? I could probably see him being the Speed champion in a few months' time, maybe. As for Axiom, legitimately, the gimmick at first I thought was not the greatest, but now I honestly really like the gimmick. I mean, Axiom as a wrestler is really good. Like, honestly, he's my kind of wrestler. Someone who's willing to go much more hard-hitting, but also has that sort of grace, and I just really like him. Honestly, with this match, I could go either way with this, but I'm kind of thinking they're gonna keep the belts on Fraser and Axiom, because I feel like you kind of want to slow burn that descendants to a rivalry. I feel like give it a few more months, and that's when you do it. That's when you pull the trigger. I mean, yes, there might not be as many tag teams in NXT right now, but thanks to the partnership with TNA going on, I mean, you could probably sneak in a reign for, like, the Bullet Club ABC if you want. So, honestly, I'm going to keep it to Fraser and Axiom for the moment. I think they definitely could lose the belt soon, but not yet. Not yet.
All right. That's a good one, Tyler. I also think that honestly, Nathan Frazier and Axiom are going to retain. I truly thought they were going to lose it to the OC at Battleground, and to be perfectly honest, I think they should have. But you know what? Shit happens, and it didn't work out. That just happens in life. In the meantime, folks, we're going to move on now to the next match. This is for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion, Roxanne Perez, is defending against Lola Vice. Lola Vice, who just came off of absolutely knocking out Shayna Baszler at Battleground in the Underground match. That was crazy. It could have been better. Wasn't my favorite of the bunch, but you know what? It's okay. It is what it is and shit like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, but Lola Vice really showed. I'm like, okay, she's a force to be reckoned with here, absolutely. And now look on this at the Heatwave. She's challenging Roxanne Perez for the women's championship, and truly, I'm gonna take a risk on this and actually say I can see Lola Vice actually winning the title. I can see her winning the title and beating Roxanne. Like, I don't know if she will, but I can see it happen. You know? Like, I can see that sort of stuff happening. Yeah, absolutely. But, in the meantime, I like the fact that Roxanne Perez, she's been on quite the story ever since, you know, she won. Actually, she was, even when 2024 started, when she was aiming to get back that championship. Although she kind of messed up a bit when she says she never lost said title. And I'm like, that's incorrect. You were the champion at Stand and Deliver 2023 when you lost it in said ladder match, so you did lose the title.
Yeah.
Being pinned.
I mean, she could claim that the belt was vacated and all that, but she lost the belt to Indy fair and square.
Yeah, and even then, like, it wasn't vacant. She was acknowledged as the women's champion, so it counted. In the meantime, Tyler, I'll actually start with you in this case. Your thoughts on the NXT Women's Championship match?
Ooh, this is a little bit of a hard one, I'd say, because you can go either way, but I'm really enjoying the story they're telling right now with Roxanne Perez here and with the NXT management. Like, I think Roxanne being basically a dick to management, it's definitely funny at points, but I feel like it's going to lead to something big. I mean, granted, I'm not sure how big it will be, but honestly, I feel like it's going to lead to something. And it's kind of funny how Booker T has basically become a simp for her on commentary. And I'm like, what the hell, Booker?
I mean, yeah, I get that he helped her with the training and everything, but I'm like, yeah, the problem is, though, you're a commentator now, you're supposed to be professional here, and this is creeping me the fuck out.
Yeah, like, this is just way too creepy. It's consistently just making me feel like Booker needs to be replaced on commentary, and I don't know if that's the direction they want me to go for with that, but I'm not a big fan of that. But when it comes to Lola Vice, she's pretty good. Like, obviously the match she had at Battleground with Shayna Baszler was fantastic, and of course her whole MMA fighter persona, it definitely works for her, but I feel like with this one, I think they should continue to build up with Roxanne here. I think Roxanne is going to win the match here. And sure, I know some people may be surprised about that, but I feel like they should continue the story because I feel like, and I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but of course, Maracle, that started up. That's been working with WWE officially now, and I kind of feel like, and I'd be shocked if this happened, but I think Julia is actually going to show up at Heatwave after the match. And I don't know if it's going to lead to Julia versus Roxanne at, like, the next NXT PLE, or if they're going to have it at Marigold, but honestly, I think that's what they're leading to. I think they're going to be leading to Julia versus Roxanne, and I think Heatwave is when they're going to properly debut Julia into NXT. I don't know if that'll be the case, but I'd be shocked if that happened.
Yeah, that's a really good one in place. Steve, your thoughts on the NXT Women's Title Match?
Well, on the Battleground podcast, everyone talked about how much I love Lola Vice. I've been liking her since Valerie Loretta, ever since her MMA debut in 2019. I've been a fan of her for years, and I've been waiting for her to get an opportunity like this, considering she didn't really win a title while she was in MMA. So I think this is the time now for her to do it. And I'm going to be honest, I am going to be overwhelm the ball with emotions. If/when that happens, I'm predicting her to, become the new NXT Women's Champion. I also have this feeling that, there's a lot of this talk about Julia and how fast Julia is going to be pushed when she gets to NXT. And I hear this talk going around how like, oh, well, Roxy needs to learn how to work stiff just so she can hang with Julia in the ring. What if, they do Julia and Lola? And when you look at a stiff wrestling match, that is the closest thing to a legitimate fight you're going to get in the world of professional wrestling. Who better to give you something of somewhat legitimacy than an actual former fighter? So Lola Vice can hang in that style with Juliet. Styles and matches make themselves. I honestly think it would be good for both of them, and I would get what I want with, my fave becoming champion.
All right. And Heel Balor, your thoughts on the NXT Women's Title match?
You hit the nail on the head right there. Who better to go after Julia and match her style than a legit fighter like Lola? I like Roxy and all, and she's been doing great in this role. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's time for a change of the guard with Roxanne. I know there's more story to tell, and I wouldn't be angry if she retained. I would not be angry if she retained. Not at all, because I've been enjoying her work. I've been enjoying what she's been doing. I think it's just time to press on, especially with Lola's story this past week on NXT. I'm like, you know what? They could run with that. Do something. Like, you could run with that easily. Now, do I think that Lola could lose this match? Of course I could. I feel like she might win. I feel like she might come out the winner. I don't know why. Is that my prediction? That's what I want to happen. That's what I want to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Roxanne's going to somehow get away with the win, but I really think Lola should win this match. I really think Lola could win this match, but I'm going with Roxanne. But that intrigue of Julia coming in, ending the match regardless of whoever wins, her staring down the opponent, her being basically running roughshod with the NXT division, stuff like that. People saying she'll be built up like the next Oscar or something like that. I wouldn't go that far, but I could see it happening. I think it'd be an intriguing story, but I think Lola has a clear shot of winning this match, but I'm going with Roxanne to win.
All right. I even said, I'm taking the risk and saying Lola Vice could really win the title. I could really see it happening. But now, folks, we're going to move on to the main event. A fatal four-way match for the NXT Championship. The champion, Trick Williams, is defending against Javon Evans, Sean Spears, and the guy everybody thinks is me.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, we go Ethan Page. And what's interesting about this, some people probably skipped over this. They probably didn't realize it. But half the challengers are from the area. Ethan Page is from Hamilton, Ontario. Sean Spears is from Niagara Falls, Ontario. This is actually really cool because
it's a half Ontario showdown.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Blow when American walks away with the gold.
Yep, Niagara Falls is my favorite getaway spot ever.
I need to go to Niagara Falls.
Yep, and Hamilton, I've been there so many times for many occasions. It's a wonderful city. So, put those two guys in from those two areas into my kingdom of Toronto. Competing for the NXT Championship. Ethan Page, as we all know, was in the main event of Battleground last month against Trick Williams. And quite a number of us actually thought that he would actually win the title. It would have been crazy if he actually won the title in his debut match. But I had a feeling it wouldn't have happened. I'm like, if it is going to happen, it's going to be at Heatwave. And here we are. It could very well happen. But we got Javon Evans as well, who's involved in the match. What a battle royal to earn the title match, which also included several people from not just NXT, but TNA. Say his name, folks.
I mean, I know for a fact Mad Dog was pissed. I mean, Mad Dog was pissed when Joe Hendry showed up, so, yeah.
Don't worry. Me and Steve know a good buddy of ours who was actually a big fan of Joe Hendry.
Yeah, he's a believer.
He's a believer. Yeah, he's a believer. He's also a Swiftie, but, that's neither here nor there.
Oh, but I thought you said believer of Joe Hendry. Sorry, I didn't realize you were referencing my cousin.
No, not him. Not him.
You said believer.
That believer?
Yes, you
I heard
did.
that one in years.
I heard that.
Believer.
I heard that.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I just want an excuse to mess around.
Wow.
Nah, it's all good. But yeah, like it wasn't just Joe Hendry, it was also Frankie Kazarian who was in that match as well. And
We love Cad.
Yep. Javon Evans ended up winning said Battle Royal, even despite the fact that Ethan Page was never eliminated, which led, of course, to that whole confrontation, that whole deal. And, well, that went on with that. Shawn Spears ended up also attacked, like, Trick Williams and Ethan Page brawled, and then Shawn Spears attacked Javon Evans, and Spears got himself involved. But then Shawn Spears beat Trick Williams in a non-title match. So, that's where, like, hey, I got a claim for this. I won the Battle Royal. Well, I was never eliminated from the Battle Royal. Yeah, well, I beat the champion. Okay, you know what? Screw it. You're all in it. Thus, folks, we have a Fatal 4-win. I think that was the right decision because, I'll be honest, these guys are all great athletes. And it's just great to see all of them going to take the main event, especially adding Ethan Page and Shawn Spears into the mix to the point where, like, awesome, here we go. Two guys from the area. Definitely hometown favorites. I swear to God, I'm gonna be in that arena, and I got a bad feeling I'm gonna be getting a reminiscent of my dead past, my distant, destroyed past, of hearing those 10 chants again in person, like I did all those years ago.
I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be chants for chairs.
I am going to suffer. I'll be fine. I'm excited the fact that I'm gonna party. Gonna party all weekend long, folks. Yo, Balor, for this main event, I shall start with you. Your thoughts on those involved in the NXT Championship match?
It is so cool to see this right here. You have the young OG, that bouncy dude, Javon Evans, who I wish people have introduced me to him before. Because, my gosh, he is my type of wrestler. He's great. He's entertaining. He knows how to talk on the mic. He knows how to get the crowd engaging with him. He's great. Shawn Spears. I'm kidding. He's actually very cool. Again, no surprises back in NXT. I thought he was pretty much doing his own thing. But it's great to see him back in NXT. The whole chairman gimmick is still with him. That's pretty cool. Then you have Ethan Page.
We are not going to go through this again.
We all know you're in the match. Anyways, we have Ethan Page.
Well, you think just because I'm going to be in the arena means I'm actually competing?
Yes, you're going to get up out of your chair. You're going to, you're going to freaking go down to the ring, and then you're going to put your gear on, and then you're going to wrestle.
You're telling me I'm going to strip down in front of everybody and put my gear on? What the hell's wrong with you?
It's just like Royal Rumble 2012 with Michael Cole, Booker T, and the other guy.
Jerry Lawler?
The other guy. Anyways,
I don't want to piss off the internet there.
Turns out this is the reason. This is the reason why NXT Heatwave is the last event of the weekend. It's because I'm in the main event.
Exactly. So you just admitted it. Exactly. Anyways, you have in all seriousness, you have Ethan Page, who has done very good since he's been in NXT. Again, I'm so glad he's in NXT. We wanted this in 2020, but it's all good. He's been doing great in this role. Then there's the NXT champion, who has done nothing. Nothing at all. No offense to him. Nothing at all.
It seems like the only thing he's really got is the whoop that trick phrase.
No offense, Trick, you're a sidekick. I should know because somebody else is my sidekick anyways. But anyways, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great match. Now who's going to win? That young OG, Javon Evans. He wins. He becomes the youngest NXT champion of all time, surpassing Bo Dallas. That's wild.
Wait, really? How old is Javon Evans?
20.
20? Oh my God. Why are
Bo Dallas?
Willie?
Bo Dallas was 20 when he won it.
Willie, you and I are fucking old.
Exactly. That's why I made my video, man. Go subscribe, by the way. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, they're hiring very young people down there. I'm like, what the heck? I thought he was like 25. I'm like, he's younger than Braun Breaker. Yeah, he's that young. I'm like, what the heck? It's crazy. But yeah, you got the young OG. I don't see him winning. If he did, that'd be a very good story to tell. Shawn Spears, no. No, you're not winning. No, you're taking the pin probably. Then there's Ethan Page and the sidekick. Him. Ethan Page is a good shot at winning this. I'm actually picking Ethan Page to win this match and sneaking out a win. Because no offense to Trick Williams, I think you chasing the title going forward and you winning the title maybe, I don't freaking know. A YouTuber, I don't know who it was who said this. They said that Trick could win the title back at, I believe, NXT's debut on CW on the premiere episode. That's where Trick wins it back. Give Ethan Page the title. Give it to him. Let him run with it. And then have Trick chase for a while. Trick will be fine. He needs to, find himself again. There's so much you can really do with the whip that Trick thing and all that. And I just, it's nothing it's really him. But it's not clicking. It's just not clicking. And I still think, in my opinion, they wasted Ilya Dragunov's freaking run as NXT champion with the whole thing with Trick Williams and Mello. So I'm still pissed off about that. But I know we had the whole thing with Baron Corbin, but yeah, it's still there's that. That was good though. But yeah, Trick, you're great and all. You're just not the guy right now to me. Sorry, but give the title to Ethan Page. I'm going to Ethan Page. Become champ.
All right, then. Tylora, your thoughts on this Fatal 4-Way main event?
Oh, boy. That legit. When I looked at the lineup, I had a little bit of a tricky time figuring out who I wanted to be the world champion here, be the NXT world champion, because it's you've got 4 really good guys here that could all make a good claim, but you also have a good reason for why they shouldn't really win. I mean, first, we've got the champion himself, Trick Williams. And, to be honest, I'm going to say this. When I first saw what Trick was doing, and obviously that kind of thing, at first, I really didn't get it. The same thing applied with Mello to me. I didn't get their gimmicks. I didn't really get their appeal as such. They just didn't feel right to me. I don't know what it is. I know people do appeal with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes sort of thing, but I'm probably the odd one out in that respect. Just being I don't get it. I don't know why people get it. Just, I don't get it. And I mean, Trick has definitely grown on me since winning the title, but not to the extent of being, oh, he is deserving to be the top guy. He's yeah, he's all right. He's just all right. I mean, don't get me wrong. The title reign has been okay, but it could have been better. It could have been better, and I do not see him winning in this contest. Javon Evans, I'm actually kind of impressed with him. He's definitely showing a lot of stride for his age. I mean, I'm 23 years old, so the fact that he's 3 years younger than me, I'm wow. He is that impressive for being that young. Legit. For what he's doing, good Lord, he honestly, and this could be a bold claim, but in 5 years' time or so, I think people are going to be looking up to him the same way people look up to guys like Ricochet and Will Ospreay. I think he's going to get to that sort of status in 5 years' time. But do I see him winning the NXT title here? No. I do not see Javon Evans winning here. I feel he should be going after the North American title more than the NXT title. And to be honest, I think Javon should be the one to beat Obafemi. But that's for a much later time. Ethan Page. I do like what they're doing with Ethan Page, establishing him as kind of this overprotected, overpowered, ego-driven person. And I like that. I think that's definitely a good direction. To be honest, I legit expected him to win at Battleground, but he didn't. And I can see why, but it's definitely a weird way to go for it. But I even don't see him winning here. Like, I feel like they should hold off on him winning the title until maybe even after deadline. Like, just give it some time, and then you have him win the world title. But right now, nah, not the time. So that leaves with Shawn Spears. And to be honest, I feel like he should be the one to win the world title. Like, I get it. Obviously, he's probably not really as deserving to win the world title, but I feel like he would make a great world champion. And keep in mind, it's a fatal four-way. It's most likely going to be like no disqualification type thing. So we're going to see that chair get involved. And, well, since we've got the chairman, I feel like he's going to win via chair-based interference. And I feel like, obviously I mentioned about Wesley. I think, because obviously if you had Trick win, that would be like face v face. You kind of want to go for that classic face-heel dynamic. So, to be honest, I would have Shawn Spears win here, and then I would have Wesley win on the premiere on CW. Like, that's the way I see it potentially going, but right now, I see Shawn Spears winning.
All right, then. That's quite the analogy, man. That was well done. Well done on that.
Well, thank you.
And finally, Steve, your thoughts on the Fatal 4-Way match coming up?
Well, I definitely think this is going to be one of the more in the category of match of the weekend to look forward to. It's a Fatal 4-Way, so that means everybody has a 33 and a third chance % of winning. You really look at all the competitors in this match, and honestly, I said this before, I really think it's time for Trick to get called up. I think his stay there has been long overdue. He's overstayed his welcome there, and that he should have gotten called up the same time Mello, Tiffany, Braun Breaker, and them were getting called up. It's really, his time in NXT kind of has flourished, and he really doesn't need it anymore. He should be on the main roster doing, things on the main roster. My honest pick for this match comes down to between two people, and that's Ethan Page and, Javon Evans. And I say that because they're two people who you want to build your next big star, and Javon would be the route to go if you want to build, younger talent. He's the future. If you want that. Also, Ethan Page, just getting here, he's fresh and new in NXT. I mean, I would say the same for Shawn Spears, but, this is Shawn's second time being in NXT, and so he can obviously, hold on and win the title later down the line. My honest pick right now, I'm going to say, is Ethan Page. And I have this idea that I came up with. I'm going to say this when we get to the predictions of Money in the Bank, but I only say that because I believe my prediction for Money in the Bank will be cashing in on Ethan Page.
Ooh.
Oh my God. I did not see that coming.
Okay, I know where he's going with this. We talked about it.
You actually surprised me there. I was like, whoa.
That's unexpected.
That got me, and hardly anything gets me these days. Except for the last time I was ever shocked like this was in November. Everybody knows exactly what that was. Because I ended up trending on YouTube as a result of it.
Yeah, some guy returned.
Yeah, it was like you were living color.
Yeah.
It was Robert time.
Yeah, I got
some guy who doesn't really like people using real glass.
It's like my face drained of all living color.
Exactly. You were all in on that night.
This is so
Just
funny.
wish it took place in London.
Oddly enough, there is a London over here. Oddly enough, there is a London over here in Ontario. So yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So everybody got that cleared for NXT, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm clear, guys.
Yeah, we're good. Affirmative. Good.
I mean, I will bring up that I do kind of feel like we will get a Toxic Attraction reunion, but outside of that, yeah, I'm good.
Please. I miss my Toxic.
I mean, it ain't gonna be the same without Mandy Rose.
She'll be better.
I mean, hey, Mad Dog would very much be happy to see Gigi back on TV more.
I just want to see all three of them back on TV. I mean, at least the other two are back on TV. Well, one's not because they have a knee injury. The other one's too busy selling a kitty cat. And the other one is basically female Cody Rhodes.
You want Georgina?
Yes. Yes. They should have ran with that. I don't care.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our predictions to NXT Heatwave. And now we are going to turn things over to the event before it. We're choosing this one last because it's a big event as well, and it's basically one of the big features of the weekend. And that's, of course, WWE Money in the Bank, taking place also at the same venue, Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. And something I forgot to mention as well on the podcast is the fact that I love what they're doing here with the fact that they've been doing so many international stuff, and this also qualifies as one because it's not in the United States, it's in Canada. But what's amazing about this is I like that they opened up the whole damn Scotiabank Arena. This is the first time they've ever opened up the whole arena for a wrestling show. Every last seat in that arena is going to be full to the brim, and I'm so excited to be there. There's going to be like over 18,000 plus people. That place is Scotiabank Arena is one of the biggest hockey arenas in the entire world.
Yeah, it is. What, 20,000?
Yeah, it can hold up to that. From the looks of things, it's going to be about 18,000, but it can be expanded to 19,000 if there's a chance. But I like the way things are looking for this. I'm so hyped for it. When I saw the seating show when I was about to buy my tickets, and I saw, oh my god, all this stuff is open? That stuff would normally be closed for a stage. There is no stage. This is just like WrestleMania in Philadelphia.
Like, to be honest, for me, I do prefer the much larger sort of sets, but if you're going to open it up to, like, all the different seats, then, hey, I can at least excuse that.
I know for a fact this place is definitely going to be wild and loud. It's Toronto. We've been wild and loud so many times. Just look at last year at Forbidden Door.
This makes me think they're going to have the little small stage they've been using.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case as well. Based on the way the map looks.
Will they have some pyro?
I don't know.
Possible. I mean, it depends.
Like, they could do what they did, like, last year, what they did in London, have, like, a big extra Tron up in the sky that has pyro coming off it.
Potentially.
They could.
I mean, they could do that, yeah. We have 5 matches to discuss for Money in the Bank, and of course, that's been a theme of these premium live events. 5 matches at the max these days.
Which I appreciate.
And honestly, I'm okay with it too, because, like, 5 matches means that, like, okay, there's only 5 slots for this. We got to make all of these, everything count. It's not like a situation where everybody... Yeah, it's not like a situation where everybody gets a match on a premium live event.
I mean, it gives more time for food breaks and bathroom breaks, especially thanks to the adverts.
Yep, that too. Whereas, I remember back when WWE was hosting, like, I don't know, like 10, 11, 12 matches on the full time for their pay-per-view events. There was like 4 hours in length, and there was like no room to breathe. And I'm like, will you guys just cut down on this, please? And nowadays, AEW suffers from the same problem. Too many matches, no breaks in between. I remember it's like the most time in between matches, 5 minutes. 5 minutes if you're in the arena, it's hardly enough. There's probably going to be a lineup in the bathroom or a lineup at the food area.
Like, that's not enough time for a piss break. Like, come on.
No, nope, not really. But over in this case... there is time, and that's why I appreciate it. It gives us time to breathe and get ready for the next one. And I've been at the events when they have had those lanes, like when I was at Survivor Series last year, and Payback, and SummerSlam, and WrestleMania, and good fucking God, I was at so many. For the record, that was only because I got lucky. All that was luck. Like, as you know, I'm at Money in the Bank weekend because it's in my little kingdom, my hometown, Toronto. I'm going to be at SummerSlam in Cleveland next month, which, once again, folks, quick reminder before we get into the predictions, there will be no predictions for SummerSlam because I will be entirely absent off the internet at the time because I'm going to be taking time away on vacation, seeing family, seeing friends, you know, that whole shebang. It's summer. We got to do that. And, of course, preparation for Cleveland, the fun in Cleveland. But, In the meantime, we have 5 matches to discuss, and we're going to start things off by talking a 6-man tag team match, which is going to be the WWE Champion Cody Rhodes teaming up with RKO, and I don't mean simply Randy Orton, that's literally the name. R-KO. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I mean, it's obviously...
So clever, by the way.
Yeah, it really is clever. Randy Kevin Owens. Something like that, I don't know.
Randy Kevin Orton?
I thought you said Randy KO'd Orton. I was going to say, huh?
No, Randy Kevin Owens. Like, I think
would be Randy Kevin Orton, if you prefer.
I already think I know what a perfect tag team finisher is. KO hits the stunner, turn around, RKO.
The RKO KO.
Yep. Something like that. They'll be taking on the Bloodline, which is any 3 members, including Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. Yeah, we're talking Jacob Fatu on this podcast. Who debuted... He debuted right the week after Clash at the Castle, and it shocked the living hell out of everybody, because everybody was predicting he'd be coming in as a babyface against the Bloodline. But here he is, siding alongside with the Bloodline, indeed. And the Bloodline no longer has Paul Heyman. As a result,
hallelujah.
As a result of last Friday on SmackDown, when Paul Heyman refused to declare Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief, the moment he saw...
Acknowledge tribal chief.
Yeah.
My tribal chief.
Yep. Even if Roman Reigns is no longer here, everybody still wants him. The We Want Roman chants have been getting louder.
Roman Reigns.
They've been getting louder and fucking louder to the point where I'm like, when that music actually hits and Roman is back, that place is gonna explode more than an atomic bomb.
He's basically God now. Like, why are everybody chanting for someone who I feel like at this point has basically been considered retired after what happened at Mania? Like, what the hell is with this crowd lately?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I was like, oh, now you want to acknowledge him? I've been acknowledging my tribal chief since the very beginning. And now you guys have been begging for him to go away. Now that he is gone, you want him back? Too bad. You're too late.
I only acknowledged him when he came to my state. And even then, that was not really me acknowledging him. He acknowledged me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, very
wow. Because that's the real tribal chief of Solo. Ain't that right, Steve?
Damn right. Little Oos is not the big brother.
Exactly.
Yeah. Solo is my chief.
Solo is my tribal chief.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, ever since Roman Reigns lost the championship, the Bloodline storyline, which a lot of people thought would be dead at that point, gone, destroyed, has just gotten bigger and fucking bigger and starting to get more intense and scary. And you gotta give major props to Paul Heyman. I found out he literally did not sleep all night long the night of that event so he could look like shit.
No, thank you. You won't see me doing that.
He actually, but even then, he's got quite the dedication.
For real.
Yeah, it really goes to show how much he's dedicated to this. Paul Heyman has gotten better ever since this because we hardly see him freaked out around the people that he's with, and he always says shit just to cover his own ass. He never once showed loyalty to anyone, whether it was Brock Lesnar or CM Punk or even before Roman Reigns. But now he absolutely showed loyalty. That's something we never see out of Paul Heyman.
Not really. Very rare to see a character like that really show emotion, something like that. Especially like you said, he's very dedicated towards, Roman Reigns, and the only person he was dedicated towards was his clients. But it's very interesting to see a softer side of the wise man. About freaking time.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. Cody Rhodes has himself back in the Bloodline situation after he's like, oh man, I thought I got out of this. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, they've been stuck in the Bloodline stuff for years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. 4 years indeed. For years.
Yeah, Solo out here just being like Scorpion, just being like, get over here.
Pretty much, yeah. So, it's like no matter what happens, you just can't get rid of the Bloodline. Except I think Roman Reigns could do it. But then there's also the guy who Solo Sikoa is answering to, and we all know who that is. None other than The Rock.
The final boss. The fuck with the final boss.
I mean, his catchphrase, his nickname of the final boss is truly coming to fruition, because in a lot of situations of final bosses in video games or TV shows or movies, you never do see the final boss until the end. In this case, I believe the final fight of the Bloodline is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It's inevitable. So, the fact that it didn't happen, a lot of people are like, well, it's getting too late for it. I'm like, I don't think it is too late. I think they know exactly what they're doing here. And so, I'm excited for it. But we have a 6-man tag match coming up for this. A lot of people thought this would be the night where Cody Rhodes would defend his championship against Solo Sikoa, but the way news reports are saying, it's looking like it's going to be at SummerSlam. At that point, totally fine with me. I'm going to that show too. So, I can understand as well not wanting to have Cody defend his title right now, but I'm like, I really don't know if putting this 6-man tag would be good for a premium live event. I really think what they should have done is have that be on the SmackDown before Money in the Bank, and actually, to be honest, yeah, I would have had Cody defend against Solo at Money in the Bank. Because, I don't like things looking like, okay, we're putting this match on here to pass the time before we get to the big match here. I'm like, who says the big match can't happen at Money in the Bank? It's literally one of the big 5. And it's in a sold-out Scotiabank Arena in Toronto in front of a hell of a crowd. Sorry, something got stuck on my throat again. Anyway, but yeah, that's why I'm saying, I can understand, 6-man tag match, yes, but this feels like we're just putting things off to the side. However, the one thing I will say that I'm excited for out of all of this is I know for a fact one of the participants will be Jacob Fatu. I don't think they're going to bring him out here just to be on the outside and have Solo team with the Tonga brothers. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. What's going to happen is it's probably going to look like they're going to compete, but then all of a sudden Solo is the one who's actually not competing, so he can stay away from Cody up until SummerSlam. And Jacob Fatu is the one who actually takes the spot. That's what I'm looking forward to the most, is Jacob Fatu, who really honestly has outshined Solo Sikoa with that one single appearance. At least that's the way I look at it. But it's time to talk the match. I really think in this case, the Bloodline is going to take it, because if we're really doing Cody versus Solo at SummerSlam, then yes, the Bloodline has to win this match. Because if the Bloodline loses, why would Solo have to fight Cody then? Because I'm like, you lost. Your guys can beat us, so this is pointless. And I've already beaten ahead of the table. I have no reason to go after you. The Bloodline wins, on the other hand, especially if I'm thinking Cody gets pinned. I have an odd feeling that could happen. Because we've had situations like last year's Money in the Bank, the Bloodline Civil War, where Roman Reigns and Solo took on the Usos. It was Jey Uso who pinned Roman Reigns in that match, setting up the whole deal for SummerSlam. Perhaps, honestly, we could be seeing a similar situation. If Solo is in the match, that's why I have worry about this. That Solo could be the one who's in the match, and he successfully pins Cody Rhodes. But I'm thinking if Jacob Fatu's in the match instead of Solo, then I don't think Cody's getting pinned. Otherwise, Jacob Fatu has claim to the WWE Championship instead of Solo Sikoa. That's the way I look at it anyway. So, Heel Balor, I'll start with you in this case. Your thoughts on this 6-man tag match?
Well, one, I like how we barely talked about Cody Rhodes in this whole thing. Poor guy. Poor WWE.
Oh, Homelander.
Yeah, poor Homelander. Which, by the way, he was doing an advertisement for Homelander, which is kind of funny. And Homelander then roasted him, which was funny. Anyways. What up?
Fuck the Cody Crybabies.
I fuck the Cody Crybabies. Hell yeah. I don't give a fuck about no fucking Cody Rhodes. Anyways, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, I think Christian hit it right on the head there. So I'll just get my predictions out. I think that the Bloodline is going to win, and yeah, it might be with Cody Rhodes taking the pinfall.
All right.
Or Kevin.
All right, then. Steve, what's your thoughts on this 6-man tag match?
Well, I want to say first, the 3 I predict that's going to be in the match are both Tonga brothers and Jacob. I say that for the reason of, if you really want to escalate Solo Sikoa thinking that he's the tribal chief, which he is my tribal chief, but if you want to take that story further,
Exactly.
you can have Solo Sikoa sitting outside of the ring in a chair like Roman used to do and really watching the match. How Solo can even have his own table and start doing that head of the table thing if you really want to. If you really want to poke this whole he's taking over Roman spot thing a lot more, that's what I would do. So I have it being the Tongas and Jacob Fatu. I think it is going to end with the Bloodline winning, and that's going to be really setting up for Solo to face Cody. I think the end of that match, they're going to beat down Randy, KO, and Cody, and it's going to end with Solo spiking the life out of Cody and putting Cody through a table, and that's what's going to set up the match for next month's SummerSlam. So I would have it be like that. The Tongas, Jacob Fatu. At the end of the match, Cody gets taken out. They all get taken out, but Cody goes through like the most in the hands of Solo.
All right. And of course, Tyler, your thoughts on this 6-man tag match?
And you know what? Funny thing is, the last time I was on this show, this was basically when the Bloodline wholly started as such, like with Roman making his decision with Heyman and sort of thing. And the funny thing throughout this whole story is that it's always been building to, like, the big conclusion sort of thing. Like, there's been so much that's happened throughout it. But when it comes to, like, this 6-man tag in particular, I feel like they are building to something big with this. And you know what? I've got a hunch on this. And look, if anyone's watching this podcast after the show, and if I get this right, legit, I would be shocked if I actually get this right. And if I do, one of you guys should pop it in the comments about this. But here's the thing. I think with this 6-man tag, of course, it's going to go like your standard 6-man tag fair. Honestly, in terms of which members of the Bloodline going to be in it, I'm honestly not bothered by it, but I think we will see the Guerrillas of Destiny back together. But I feel like that this is how I think the finish is going to go. At the end of the match sort of thing, Cody will be on top of whoever it is in the ring sort of thing. And then when Cody's on top and looked like he was about to hit that crossroads, if you're Samuel! Yeah, I actually think that The Rock is going to show up. Now, I have a hunch on this, but I know people are saying that, like, one of his stops in his filming schedule is Toronto, and I don't know if they've carefully planned it out so that he could show up for Money in the Bank as well, but I feel like The Rock is going to cost Cody Rhodes here, and he's going to help the Bloodline get the victory, because honestly, I actually think they're going to do The Rock versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. I feel like that's the money match you got to do for SummerSlam in order to sell out the stadium. Because, I mean, look, there's a lot of matches they could do for SummerSlam, of course. And I know people saying, oh, it's going to be Solo versus Cody Rhodes. But I feel like they should do Rock versus Rhodes here. After everything we saw during the Mania build, and after what happened on the Raw after Mania, that they gotta do it. They gotta do it for SummerSlam. I feel like that is the perfect match for SummerSlam. And to be honest, if you're gonna have Roman return, I mean, it would kind of be fitting that the same show where he returned in 2020 is where he'd return in 2024. But obviously, it's just a hunch. I'm not 100% sure if The Rock will actually show up, but to be honest, I think the Bloodline will get the win, no doubt. Whether it be for Cody versus Solo, or if my hunch is correct and we're getting Rhodes versus Rock.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble. I just don't think that's going to be the case. And the reason for that is there's a couple of things. For one thing, I think The Rock is still actually recovering from a bicep tear he suffered as a result of his film this mixed martial arts film he was doing. And not to mention, if one of his stops during his film process is Toronto, he could potentially show up, but I don't see it happening. I mean, even if he does show up at Money in the Bank, that'd be epic. But I don't see it happening for a match at SummerSlam because if he's still filming, it's part of his contract. His agents will not allow him to wrestle. And the problem is, The Rock is not in control of that. It's his agents who are in control of that. And unfortunately, from what I've seen, he's still going to be busy filming around SummerSlam time. So even if he's taking a break, he won't be allowed to actually wrestle as a result of Hollywood rules, and it's stupid in my opinion. I really think as well. I do agree with you that this match with Cody Rhodes and The Rock should be at SummerSlam. I've seen reports about WrestleMania 41, and I'm like, no, that needs to be Roman versus The Rock. It's Las Vegas. I mean, if the whole deal was Minneapolis was going to be the front runner to be hosting WrestleMania next year, but then all of a sudden lost to Las Vegas, I would think it's because they would book Roman Reigns versus The Rock for that one. They want Roman to fight Rock. Sense. Yeah, and I don't see why they would put Cody versus Rock on that Mania, and I don't know, have Rock and Roman at 42 in no matter wherever the fuck that is in 2026. I'm like, I don't see that as the case because it really doesn't make sense to me. So I don't really, I agree, that's a SummerSlam match. Cody Rhodes and The Rock deserves to be at SummerSlam this year. But of course, the issues being Rock's filming, Rock's injury, and the fact that it looks like Solo Sikoa will be challenging. That's the other reason why I was hoping that Solo would challenge for the title at Money in the Bank so that we would know, okay, the title match for them is right there. But then, and a lot of people are not agreeing with Cody and Solo being a main event for SummerSlam, too. People are looking on social media. Yeah, they're not agreeing with it because they don't think that's a good enough main event for SummerSlam. If you're trying to put it on par with WrestleMania... Yeah, here's the thing. I'll get you in a moment, Willie. But the fact of the matter is, in this case, it's like you're putting SummerSlam on a subpar level with WrestleMania. Hell, in 2026, it's gonna be the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. That's historic in its own right. So I'm like, you're putting it literally on the same height, or at least subpar level, with WrestleMania. Putting up a Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, that's not a SummerSlam main event to me. That's a Money in the Bank main event, but not a SummerSlam main event. Because here's the thing, SummerSlam has to be leagues above all those other events if it's going to be on subpar level with WrestleMania. All right, Willie, did you have something you needed to say?
Oh, not really. I was just saying they need to acknowledge, that Solo is the tribal chief.
My tribal chief.
Oh, that's it.
Slander. We're not taking this slander.
We're not taking this. I love Solo. I don't say Solo's great. I mean, Steve already knows this. I've been a fan of Solo since NXT. So seeing him in this opportunity, sure, he's not the best mic worker. Sure, he's not the best worker out there. Sure, he's not even on close to the level of Roman Reigns. But I'm appreciating what they're doing with him in the storyline. I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad that he's getting these big opportunities. So there you go. I'm liking it.
Yeah. And I mean, what I said, obviously, it's just a hunch. It's just a feeling. But if it does happen, I will be shocked.
Could very well be the case, yeah. Steve, did you have any input on that, on this whole thing? Because, what do you think about that argument in place?
Well, I mean, everyone knows me. The Rock's my favorite of all time. If he shows up, then damn right I'm popping. Do I see it happening? Like Tyler said, there's reports that Toronto is a stop. Nobody knows when he's supposed to make that stop in Toronto. We only know maybe he already made it. Maybe he hasn't made it yet, and that's supposed to be after Money in the Bank. It's only up in the air, but the most I can see happening is if you really want to get him some type of involved, what if when Cody's about to pin whoever he hit the three crossroads on, if The Rock's music played just to throw Cody off, and that's what sets up him getting super kicked by Jacob Fatu or even spiked by Solo Sikoa costing him the match. I mean, that's just my idea. The Rock's music hits and that distracts Cody.
Yep. Could be a distraction. Could be him actually showing up. Could even not even be his music. He could actually be suddenly showing up out of nowhere and actually just hit a rock bottom on Cody or something like that. And who knows? But with that being said, though, we're going to move on now to the next match. Because I'm pretty sure, we all believe the Bloodline is winning this match regardless of what's happening, right?
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt the Bloodline's winning. It makes sense storyline-wise for them to get the win.
Yep.
Acknowledge it.
Yep, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to the next match, and this is a match I'm excited to talk about. This is the Intercontinental Championship as Canada's own from Montreal, not Toronto, so kind of enemies in a way. Just because he's from Canada doesn't mean that we appreciate him, folks. the Maple Leafs have it against the Canadians for years. Anyways,
wow.
Yeah. Anyways, though, Sami Zayn is defending against Braun Breaker. And when I saw that, when I heard about that, I was like, oh my god, this is absolutely wild and insane. Because ever since Braun Breaker came up to the main roster, he was pissed off because he wasn't added to the King of the Ring tournament. Because Adam Pearce believed he wasn't ready. Because he just got up from NXT. And then I'm like, well, Ilya Dragunov got called up from NXT literally at the same time. And it doesn't make sense to put that excuse in. And you can't say, oh yeah, well, Ilya Dragunov is better. Because I'm like, that wasn't the point of the conversation, though.
Pearce is just being a bozo about that.
Yep, and as a result...
Does he not even watch NXT?
Yep. And as a result, Braun Breaker ended up squashing so many people. He murdered Ricochet and sent him over to AEW. And
or TNA.
Probably AEW, I think. But even then, he ended.
Japan.
But even then, he ended Ricochet's career in WWE. And now, he's actually gonna get Intercontinental title match, all because he showed his destructive chaos and carnage. I honestly thought,
right, folks. You murder people, you get NXT title shot. That's right, folks. If you murder people, you get title shots. That's how it works.
I mean, if that's the case, the Wyatt Six are going to be champions very soon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they murdered an entire backstage area.
And they almost murdered Chad Gable.
Yeah, I will admit, we'll get to Chad in a moment, because we'll be talking the Money in the Bank ladder matches, and at that moment, folks, we'll discuss the Wyatt Six for you guys. But in the meantime, with the whole deal with Braun Breaker, I actually thought that this Intercontinental title match could potentially be a four-way, because it wasn't just Braun Breaker involved, there was also Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Unfortunately, Ludwig Kaiser suffered broken ribs, and Sheamus simply... Yeah, and Sheamus, of course, lost the Money in the Bank qualifying match, and even then, he was more focused on that than he was the Intercontinental Championship. So we got Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker in this case, and while some people are split, others are not split. I am not split on this. I believe crown Braun Breaker as the Intercontinental Champion. I know, it's Canada, Sami Zayn's home country. Well, guess what? This ain't Quebec, this is Ontario. This is not Montreal, this is Toronto. So, in a way, just because you're from the area doesn't mean just because you're from the country doesn't mean everywhere is your home. I mean, if you're in the United States, is everywhere in the United States your home? Nope.
Nope.
Exactly. Same with Australia. If you're from Melbourne, is Perth considered your home? Nope.
If you're from Bendigo, is Melbourne considered your home? Well, it may be the same state, but not really.
No. Just like I understood that, Rhea Ripley in the main event of that Elimination Chamber and everything. But I'm like, she's from where the fuck was she from?
Adelaide,
South Australia, and we're in Perth, West Australia. Different scenario. Not everything is Australia is the same. That's just a viewpoint everybody has. Everybody is the same everywhere you go. But this is why I'm like, Sami Zayn, I get it. It's Canada, but just because it's Canada doesn't mean you should be protected with a win. I really believe, Sami Zayn, in my opinion, was never meant to be a champion for 6 months to a year. Even though, despite the fact that he conquered Gunther at WrestleMania, I'm like, just because you conquered the longest reigning champion doesn't mean you should also get the same amount of days in the reign or close to or even above. I mean, that's not always the case. Because, that's not how it always works. Otherwise, if every champion was like that, it'd get boring. I really think this has to be the case. That Braun Breaker, at Money in the Bank, should win the Intercontinental Championship from Sami Zayn. Because I believe he's ready. He just got up to the main roster, yes. But he's been ready for the main roster for years. After Braun Breaker lost the NXT title at Stand and Deliver in 2023, I truly thought that was going to be the moment where he was going to be called up to the main roster, and he wasn't. He continued to stay there. He stayed there for another year. But even then, I'm like, even before he lost the NXT title, I was saying, it's overdue. It's overdue for Braun Breaker to be up on the main roster. It's overdue for Braun Breaker to be up on the main roster and everything. And I was asking for the longest time, when's he getting called up? When's he getting called up? And I'm the guy who honestly thinks that Braun Breaker not only should be the Intercontinental Champion, but in several years from now, should be on point to be the next face of the company. I truly think he should be the face of the whole damn WWE because he's got the looks, he's got the strength, he's got the quickness, he's got the mic skills as well. People want to say otherwise, but I believe he's got it. And no, folks, this has nothing to do with Steiner lineage here. This has to do with the fact that Braun Breaker has really brought in on his own. He's not been a Steiner, he's been himself. That's what I like about it. He may come from a lineage. That doesn't mean he's always going to be said lineage. I like the wrestlers who come from different legacies and lineages, but they make their own path rather than following the exact same path or similar. Example like Charlotte Flair. She was just being everything Ric Flair was. So, that was that. But then you got others like The Rock. He was The Rock. Rocky Maivia and Haichi Peter Maivia were nothing like The Rock is. That's the difference. I mean, sure, he came in as Rocky Maivia, but that doesn't mean it didn't always stay that way. Guys eventually decided, you know what? No, The Rock. I'm just going to stick with The Rock here. And it worked out. He created his own thing. And when you create your own thing and your own path, that's when it gets even better. So that's why I'm thinking Braun Breaker is absolutely magnificent at what he does. He not only should win the Intercontinental Championship, I also thought to myself, he should have been the one to dethrone Gunther. I even went that far. Yeah, I did. I even think Braun Breaker in a couple years from now, maybe 2027 or 8, I'll say probably that length, should win a Royal Rumble, win the main event of WrestleMania as WWE Champion. I truly believe that. But in this case, we'll start from this area. He should beat Sami Zayn and start an entire reign of dominance as the Intercontinental Champion because I guarantee he absolutely can make that happen. Whew, my God. That was a lot for me to decompose. Heel Balor, I'll start with you on this case. What's your thoughts on what I just said?
Well, again, you hit the nail on the head right there, man. The booking of Braun Breaker has been excellent. Actually, I will say this. The booking of Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Tiffany Stratton, and Ilya Dragunov has been very, very good. Has been very, very good indeed. I have been appreciative of how they've been treating the four of the call-outs of NXT. Braun Breaker specifically has been booked very, very well and very strong. He's ran through everybody, and now he's up against the Intercontinental Champion. The thing is, do you have him win the title now? I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. I think it would make sense. The only issue is that he had his hands all over the championship this past week when taking out Sami Zayn. But I still am going to go with Braun Breaker. There is a possibility that Sami Zayn could win by Braun Breaker getting himself disqualified. Some of that he gets too pissed off, he gets himself disqualified. But I'm gonna go the route of they're gonna give the title to Braun Breaker. If they don't give it to him now, he'll win it at SummerSlam. So either way, Braun's winning the title. But I'm gonna go with him winning it now. I got Braun Breaker.
All right. Steve, what is your thoughts on the Intercontinental Championship match?
First off, like everyone else said, Braun has been presented very well on the main roster since getting called up. I think a lot of it is coming from, his NXT because he established himself well there. And he performed on the main roster before even getting called up. So we got a glimpse of what he could do there, and it's been going really well. I still, am boggled by the fact that Sammy was the one to beat Gunther. My personal pick to beat Gunther was Ivar. I wanted Ivar to beat Gunther because I've been impressed with the work he was doing, being on his own for a little bit. And when it wasn't him, I was going for Chad Gable. And really, look at Sammy's reign. What has his reign been outside of beating Chad Gable and going to the Alpha Academy and saying, hey, Chad's abusing y'all. You guys should leave him on this and that. It hasn't really been nothing more than that. Don't get me wrong, Sammy's not a bad champion, but I just really preferred if Chad Gable would be the one, with a title. And that's obviously not the route they took. Chad Gable doesn't look like he has a chance of winning that. I mean, we'll get more into him later on. But no, I definitely think Braun Breaker should be.
By the way.
Exactly, preach it. I definitely think Sammy is going to be dropping it to Braun Breaker. Like you said, Braun Breaker is going to be a world champion by a year from now, 2 years from now. I honestly think he'll win it sooner than a lot of people did when they got to WWE, especially on the main roster. So yeah, I have Braun Breaker winning the IC title. and it's going to be a test for him. You know, we're going to see what he does with the IC title, and that's going to set him up for the main event scene for the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, like, when everything is going about with the booking of Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, the other thing I wanted to mention, of course, is Sami Zayn. Aside from the back, once again, yes, I'm excited to attend his stand-up comedy show. I like to see what he's got when it comes to that stuff, because stand-up comedy is just good to attend to. I've not been to one in a long time, and one I truly wish I could have gone to is Robin Williams, rest his soul. Matter of fact, the next month marks 10 years since he died. But in the case of Sami Zayn as well,
Rest in the goat.
Yep, rest in peace to the GOAT, Robin Williams, indeed. We miss you. And Sami Zayn, in this case, of the Intercontinental Championship, his run is all right, but there's one thing I don't understand about him, and this is kind of weird. Weird thing he does is he breathes in between everything he says. Even he cuts words in half. I am your Intercontinental Champion. I'm like, for the record, that's not exactly a good hype up. I'm like, are you okay? Like, are you legitimately okay? That's how I worry.
Do you need
sometimes.
a drink?
Yeah, here's some water, folks. But aside from that, I'm like, the whole deal with Sami is I expect him to be a good champion. But indeed, all this has been, of course, is mostly just been Chad Gable. Great feud, fantastic. The problem is, like, the whole deal with that was it really just made Chad look very weak. Because
Thank you.
he could never get anything done. Whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, or whether he was using his daughter as bait. No matter what he tried, he just couldn't get the job done. And that's the moment when you're like, well, that was a waste. You would think that you would think you'd get something out of it. He couldn't beat Gunther, and he couldn't beat Sam. Here's the thing. He couldn't beat either of those guys fair and square or with cheating.
The day he re-signed his contract, he still lost.
That's just, I'm sorry, that's fucked up. That's just,
Yeah.
Ooh, this company.
Yeah, we'll be getting to Chad Gable also in a moment because of Money in the Bank. But we still have one more to talk about the Intercontinental Championship. Tyler, your thoughts on the Intercontinental title match?
Quote unquote main character Sami Zayn. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Sami. I think he's great. Like, his IC title run has been just okay, but in general, Sami is great. He is great. But, and this is, if you guys have followed me online for a long time now, then you'll know how much of a fan of Braun Breaker I am. Like, when I got back to watching NXT around the time of New Year's Evil 2023, I believe, honestly, I saw Breaker's matches and I thought, holy shit, this guy is so good. Like, Breaker basically has everything. Like, he's got the look, he's got the style, he's got the mics, he's got everything to be a megastar.
He's got the power, he's got the time, he's got the whatever the fuck that is, but you know what I mean.
He's got all that meat. I mean, come on. But I fucking love Braun Breaker.
Pause, bro.
Hey, you got a problem with him and loving the meat? What's wrong with you, huh?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with liking meat. Just depends how long it is and how much girth it has.
Who cares?
Big meaty men slapping meat.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Everyone likes a bit of meat, I guess. But, yeah, honestly, I love Breaker. I've been a fan of him for so long. And you know what? I legit thought the plan going into SummerSlam was to have Breaker be a world champion. Like, I legit thought that was going to be the plan because, honestly, Breaker is the kind of guy where you could, quote-unquote, Lesnar him up to a world title. Like, having him debut so quickly on the main roster to having him win the world title that quickly, I just felt like that made so much sense to do. But obviously, that's not the route they're going for. They're going much more long-term, which I'm not the biggest fan of that myself, but I can see where they're going with it. But you know what? To be honest, I think we know how the match is going to go. Sami Zayn's going to try and get some offense in. He's going to try and take down Breakker, but then out of nowhere, Breakker just goes bam, 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 bam. Breakker just destroys Sami Zayn. And to be honest, Breakker has to win the IC title. Like, there is just no doubt that Breakker is ready. And honestly, Breakker needs this. He needs to win the belt.
Yeah, it's like a point where it's kind of the point where we're booking Sami Zayn in his home country of Canada, and yet from the way things are looking on, not just us on the podcast, but a lot of people on social media, a lot of them want Breakker to take it. And it has nothing to do, of course, with Sami. So, we're not bored of Sami Zayn. It's just, this is an opportunity that really should not be passed up on. And I've seen some people say, maybe you could hang on to it until SummerSlam. I'm like, why? 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 It's because it's the bigger event? Not all big title changes should be at the biggest events.
I mean, Money in the Bank is a part of the Big Five. Well, technically now we're back to the Big Six with King of the Ring being back.
I mean, technically that's...
Still.
I mean, I don't think we'd really count that considering its absence for so long.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I'm still personally going to say, Big Six, but to be honest, Money in the Bank is a part of that. It is a big event. So, for those people who think, oh, it's not a big enough event, are you kidding me? It is a big enough event.
Yep, I agree. All right, folks. We're going to take a break from championship matches because we are now going to actually go to the Money in the Bank ladder matches. We're going to start... And the reason I'm going for the Money in the Bank ladder matches now is because I think we might have something to talk about when it comes to the world title later on. So we'll talk about that last. In the meantime, talking the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And here are the 6 participants here. Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Zoe Stark. 6 participants. There will be 6 participants also in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Taking a break from going to the usual 8 participants. And now... we have the 6, the kind of like the traditional ones that they used to have with the first 2 Money in the Bank events. I mean, from WrestleMania 21 and 22, 2005 and 2006. Then it used to be like the main deal being 8. And there was that one time at WrestleMania 26 they had 10 for some stupid reason.
Jeez.
I still to this day didn't understand that. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that McIntyre at the time, Drew McIntyre, was the chosen one. The chosen Intercontinental Champion, tried to qualify so many times and failed, and, he just got in anyway. So that's why I'm like, okay, that explains why there's 10. It's still a dumb reason, though. Because...
and considering the fact who won that particular Money in the Bank, yeah.
Jack Swagger, of all people. I really believe the heavy favorite, though, at the time, was Matt Hardy. I remember that. But
Actually,
anyway.
the heavy favorite at the time was Kofi Kingston.
No, it was actually Matt Hardy. I remember that time.
You could have had Matt Hardy win it or Kofi, but instead you have to give it to the former 5-star wrestling champion, Jack Swagger. Yes, I'm not kidding. He won that belt.
Yeah, in this case, 6 participants here, and the cool thing about this is, aside from Io Sky and Naomi, nobody else has actually been a top champion on the main roster here. And Io Sky is the only person in this match who's actually won the Money in the Bank contract because she did it last year. She's looking to pull a CM Punk and do a 2-peat.
And you know what's interesting as well? Valkyria and Tiffany Stratton, they both were called up this year. So...
yeah, they were. They've each been NXT champion. Becky Lynch was right in between them. They were NXT Women's Champion. Tiffany Stratton then lost it to Becky Lynch, who briefly held onto it, and then Lyra Valkyria had it. Before she lost it to Roxanne Perez. Let's say this. We're gonna dissect everything here. We'll start with Io Sky. She won Money in the Bank last year as part of Damage Control, and cashed in at SummerSlam to become the Women's Champion. She held on to it all the way to WrestleMania 40, so she was champion for 8.5 months. Lost it to Bayley, who's our current champion over on SmackDown. And ever since...
and who honestly shouldn't be still champion.
Truthfully, I would have given it to Piper and it been a Clash of the Castle. But,
Yeah.
And in the case here, Io Sky, is going through a lot of problems with damage control. And as always, there's problems with damage control. There always is a problem in damage control, no matter who is running the case. In this case,
it must be the Kiwi in it. It must be the Kiwi.
Yeah, probably. Dakota Kai, of course. And we have Kairi Sane. The injured Asuka. Asuka's, unfortunately, from what I've been reading, she ain't going to be around for the rest of the year. So, heal back and hopefully get back soon.
Yeah, get well soon, Asuka.
Yep. And Io Sky, in this case, looking to repeat her success from last year, which is why I think it's going to be her downfall and the eventual turn-on for damage control, saying, screw it, we're done. Let's just all move on. And truthfully, that'd be a good idea, because at this point, damage control really died when Bayley was no longer part of them. She was the person who was holding them forward. Dakota Kai, on the other hand, and I'm trying to keep my words as cool as possible because I know the stands will try and kill me. I was shocked when I saw so many Dakota Kai stands. But I'm like, she's just not that good of a leader, and she's injury prone, which is the reason why she hasn't been given a lot of opportunities here, which is why we enter to Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark was the last person to qualify, and she won a triple threat with Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile. And not only did Dakota Kai lose, but she took the pin, which pissed off everybody on social media, and that actually shocked me. I'm like, okay, I knew Dakota Kai had fans, but I didn't think that she was like that well loved. And then, of course, I see stuff about, oh, she cried once on her Twitch stream about not getting opportunities. I'm like, bro, are you stupid? That was her being in character. Of course she would do that. And even then, I even said this on my social media, that if one constantly cries about not getting opportunities, well, then they probably never deserve them in the first place. Because, like, if you're... The tears in blood, sweat, and tears isn't bitching because life's unfair. It's the tears because you feel that physical pain and you're trying to pull through the pain no matter what. It causes the tears to flow. That's how it works. But I don't agree with the whole sense that Dakota Kai deserved the opportunity because she cried on a stream once. I'm like, if that's the case, everybody should cry on a stream and maybe they'll get what they want, like a bitch at a freaking Walmart who's constantly bitching about not getting the toys. The kid is not getting the toys they wanted, so they're crying over and over, embarrassing their parents and everything in front of the whole freaking store. In this case, crying on a stream in front of the whole damn world. And
I bet you she was complaining about Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's what I think that could have been the case as well. And some people just probably took it out of context or something like that. But even then, I'm like, when these characters even are on their stream, they're in character. A lot of the times they're in character. They like to keep the kayfabe alive. I mean, like, and besides, she wouldn't be allowed to talk about that sort of stuff anyway. Because once again, that'd be just her trashing the company. And that could cause problems to her position, not make them say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that you wanted this. Here, I'll give it to you. So, folks, I'm just saying the fans really need to calm down here, because I get it. Yes, Dakota Kai, yeah, I'd love to see her get some opportunities. I have good faith that she will, but not to the point where I'm just going to constantly be cussing out WWE and Triple H for the booking decisions. You can be frustrated, sure, but just move on, please. Because you're not doing anybody favors, and you're especially not doing Dakota Kai any favors by your constant bitching. That's just how it works, folks. That's Zoe Stark, though. Zoe Stark, I mean, talked about her because all we can talk about is Dakota Kai here. I'll be honest. She hasn't done much since she got separated from Trish Stratus. And that's unfortunate. She had a minor team up with Shayna Baszler. And then I'm like, why the fuck are you putting her up with Shayna Baszler? Those two should not even be in a tag team anyway. They should be in singles competitions. Case closed. Because the women's tag division, once again, I'm sorry, it's dead. So just accept it. It's dead. And you enter Naomi. She hasn't won Money in the Bank, but she's been in multiple ladder matches of those magnitudes, and she's been a top women's champion. She won the SmackDown Women's title WrestleMania 33. So she's got the experience in these sort of things. She could possibly win it.
Didn't she also win it at Elimination Chamber 2017 as well?
That is true indeed. Yep. That's why some people are thinking could be Glow in the Bank. Put a glow in the dark feature on the Money in the Bank like she put on the championship. That could be possible. Lyra Valkyria. She made it all the way to the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament before she got literally squashed by Nia Jax. Yikes. To this day, I look back on that still freaks me. I'm like, how did she survive that? Yeesh. But, then, of course, you got, in my opinion, the two top favorites here. Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, of course, ever since she was in NXT, it's Tiffy time. She had quite the reign as NXT Women's Champion. In my opinion, should not have lost to Becky Lynch. And even if she did, she should have won back the title at the main event of No Mercy. Chelsea Green, ever since she returned to WWE in 2023, it started off as her being the Karen, and that was funny shit. And then she actually had a decent tag title reign with Piper Niven, briefly with Sonya Deville, but then mostly with Piper Niven. And she's not only been hilarious, but she really nails it when she knocks everything out of the park when it comes to everything she's been given. And I truly think that if she wins Money in the Bank, that'd be one of the funniest things ever. And she will once again show that it's like, hey, I can make this out of gold. I can make gold out of this now.
I think she could even make the briefcase look like the Divas title.
Yeah, she wants to bring back the Divas Championship for reasons I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no clue, but it's like the funniest shit.
I really hope they don't do that, actually, folks. I don't want to see that thing. That championship was horrible in every sense of the word. But, anyways, Tiffany Stratton, I do know, she once got hate for sharing some sort of video that some people did claim was racist. I don't want to really comment on that. I just wanted to let you know that she had some heat on that, but we're just going to move on from it because, let's be honest, it looks like everybody else did. These days, it looks like Tiffany Stratton wants to be the princess for Queen Nia. And Nia, from the looks of things, is like, why not? So, there's that to think about. All right, so, Tyler, I'll start with you. And in this case, since there are 6 participants, you can select 2 people you think will win the match. In my case, I said Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton. So what's your thoughts on the women's Money in the Bank?
So, I will say this in general with both ladder matches. It is hard to predict who's going to win because you've got so many really good names in there that it is definitely difficult to predict in this case, but I'll go through my thoughts on all of them here. Io, she's won the briefcase before. I mean, yes, they could do like what they did with CM Punk all those years ago and have her go back to back, but I don't see that happening. There is just no doubt that will probably not happen in general. I'm checking my notes here. Lyra Valkyria, I'm very impressed by her. She's been doing some really good work. Like, even her NXT Women's Title run, that was actually really good. But not yet. Like, I do see her winning a women's title sooner rather than later, but not yet. I don't see it happening anytime soon. And honestly, it will eventually happen, but not yet. Naomi, formerly Trinity in TNA, for those people who may remember. She's been really good lately. Like, she's been really good. And I know she's kind of been in, like, this kind of rock and a hard place kind of thing when it comes to her booking as such, but honestly, she is really good as a competitor. But even though the merchandise of the glowing briefcase would be cool, and I beg it, that would make so much money for WWE, I don't think they're going to do a decision based solely on merchandise potential. I mean, this is WWE we're talking about. They are a business, but I don't know. I don't really see that being the case to play into it. Zoe Stark, yeah, no. Like, I like Zoe Stark, but she's got women's tag title business, even though the women's tag titles should kind of be replaced with, like, a women's Intercontinental or a women's United States title, or maybe even split it to both. I don't know, but yeah, I don't see Zoe winning. So that leaves me with who I think could potentially win it, my 2 picks. The least likely of the two, in my opinion, is Chelsea Green. I like Green. I think she's been doing some great work as such, and absolutely, she is definitely deserving to win the briefcase. Like, absolutely, I think she's got a good shot at it, like 100%. But when it comes to my other pick, and honestly, of course, Chelsea is my first pick, but for my second pick, I think most likely she's gonna win it, and that's Tiffany Stratton. I mean, Tiffany has been on the roll of a lifetime as of late. Like, she has been fantastic. I mean, just look at the crowd reception in Perth. Like, if that's not a vote of confidence from the fans, then I don't know what is. Like, Tiffany's great. Like, she's really good. And honestly, when she won the NXT Women's title, I was like, why would you give the belt to her? But honestly, now I can see why they did it. She is a mega star in the making, and when she cashes in that briefcase, that's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I think it's going to be either Chelsea Green or Tiffany Stratton.
Alrighty. This is really good stuff. Steep, your thoughts on the Women's Money in the Bank and your two picks to win.
Well, I want to say this Money in the Bank women's match is very stacked. There's a lot of notable names in here. My realistic pick I can see winning from when she first got announced, even when before the Money in the Bank, qualifiers matches were really happening. Me and Hill Balor were talking about this. I've been saying it was going to be Tiffany from earlier this year. Even last year, we were saying things like Chelsea Green could also win. Not only will it, be something to see, but it fits her character. A Karen with a briefcase. The things she would do to the briefcase, the way she would design it, maybe customize it a bit, the way she would cash in. I know a lot of people would say like, oh, well, then she would be, the first failed women's Money in the Bank cash in. I honestly, that is realistically could happen, but I honestly would rather see her having success with cash in. Just, because her with the women's title, it would fit her character. So with this briefcase, there's also in there, I'm a big fan of Zoe Stark. I really want it to be Zoe. So my two picks that I actually see happening, going off of booking logic, would be Chelsea Green and Tiffany. More so Tiffany than Chelsea. So yeah, Tiffany and then Chelsea. But I really want it to be Zoe. I want Zoe to be at least considered in this match. I think she has probably the least chance of winning. Well, her and Naomi. Io doesn't need it. She just had it last year. But definitely the three most notable names that are favored from what I've seen are Chelsea, Lyra, and Tiffany. I want Zoe to be one of those people as well. I really think she deserves something. This tag team with Shayna hasn't been doing much for either of them. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think it's between Tiffany and Chelsea Green.
Alrighty. And Hill Balor, your thoughts on the Women's Money in the Bank and your two picks.
Yeah, y'all hit the nail on the head pretty much this entire thing, so I don't really have much to say. It's going to be a very unpredictable match. Again, there's only two logical people who can win this match. Zoe Stark, yeah, I'm giving her the least. Naomi, she doesn't need it. Lyra, a little bit too soon. Who else is there?
Io.
Yeah.
Io, she hasn't made it. She won it last year. Tiffany and Chelsea. Here's where it gets interesting. I am cool with either one of them winning. It would fit their character. It would fit like with whatever they gotta do. And Steve, like Steve said, we've been saying this since last year. Last year we said the same exact thing. The Money in the Bank briefcase would fit Chelsea Green very well. And I've been a Tiffany fan for a good while, a few good years now with Tiffany. And at first, again, I didn't like her at first. I'm like, this is the same old Barbie girl bullshit. And then, like, something grew on me. Something grew on me with Tiffany. And I'm like, she has something. And she's earned her place in this company. So she could win. It's so hard. They can go either way. I think I'm going to lean more towards Tiffany, honestly, I would guess. I don't know. I'm very torn. I'm cool either way. It's one or the other. Screw it. I'm gonna be the odd man out. I'm gonna say Chelsea Green. I love Tiffany. And I'll be fine with her winning. Again, I'm cool either way. I'm just gonna say this. Fine. My pick is gonna be Chelsea Green, but my dark horse is gonna be freaking Tiffany. That's it. That's all I got. I can't choose between them because either one can win. My main pick is gonna be Tiffany though, or Chelsea. My main pick's gonna be Chelsea because honestly, she could be the chicken shit kind of heel with the briefcase. Tiffany would be basically straightforward in your face. She would be fine with cashing in and run towards the opportunity. I feel like with Chelsea, she would have the chicken shit type heel. She would run away from these things. She'd be one of those heels where it's like, oh no, I'm just gonna hide and stuff like that. Just not really cash in when the time is right, and just always probably fumble. Like basically, like Carmella wasn't really a chicken shit heel. Never mind. So I guess Chelsea would be that kind of heel. I'm going with Chelsea, and my backup is gonna be Tiffany because again, I said before, I'll say it again. She just has it. She has it. She has the mic skills. She has the work rate in the ring. She can tell a good story out there. And it works well with her gimmick. So I can't really choose between one or the other, but there you go. Chelsea's my pick, but my backup's going to be Tiffany.
Alrighty. And with that being said, folks, we're going to move on from one Money in the Bank ladder match to the next. This is for the men's Money in the Bank contract. The 6 participants in this case, once again, we are literally in a place where it's unpredictable. There is no one obvious winner here. I like this. The participants: Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Chad Gable, Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, and main event Jey Uso. This is absolutely insane. This lineup that we have for the men's Money in the Bank is crazy. And I mentioned one of the participants, Chad Gable. He's been going through a lot, which is why we're actually going to, before we get started on talking about the actual ladder match, we'll let you guys know we're going to bring up what happened right after Clash at the Castle, with the whole deal of not just Chad Gable, but the debut of the Wyatt 6. Without a doubt, one of the craziest debuts we've ever seen. Just when you thought, he's like, it's been, good fucking God, next month is going to mark a full year since Bray Wyatt passed away. And we hardly ever spoke about this on my YouTube channel because I wanted to keep things away from talking about Bray to respect the memory. But I figured at this point, we can really truly give full thoughts again on this. I know we gave thoughts on his passing, but in this case, the impact of not just his passing, but also the fact that it really feels like when the Wyatt 6 showed up, that the vision that Bray Wyatt had really returned. Somehow he's gone, but we really felt his presence. I didn't think that was possible, but it was. Like the Wyatt 6 first showed up and with Abby the Witch crawling through that door, played by Nikki Cross. Crossing through like a haunted house. There's Ramblin' Rabbit, played by Eric Rowan. And then the whole damn gorilla area is destroyed. Then you see Mercy the Buzzard in the corner, played by Dexter Loomis, go through a curtain. There's Huskus the Pig Boy, played by Joe Gacy. And then there is Chad Gable, apparently looking like he got shot in the face. And then right there's Uncle Howdy, played by Bo Dallas. They went to the stage area and posed. And yes, there are 5 of them, but truly I believe the 6th member is the spirit of Bray Wyatt, and that's the way they're tributing him. Others are saying potentially Alexa Bliss is part of it, but I'm like, honestly, I'd rather keep it as 5 physical members and the 6th is a spiritual member. And it makes sense to me. It truly does. So that's why, Willie, I'll start with you on this case. When you saw the Wyatt 6 debut and all the shit that they did that in those 5 minutes, what was going through your mind?
Murder. That's all I was thinking of was murder. I'm thinking, holy shit, this is the best thing I've seen in a good while in this company. When you saw freaking Abby the Witch, you saw freaking Sister Abigail, quote unquote, crawling out the door, and I'm thinking, what the heck is that thing? And then you point to the backstage, you have people laying on the ground, bodies everywhere, bodies. And some of that fire. You saw a bullet hole in Chad Gable's skull. I'm like, this is the wildest shtick I've ever seen in a good while in this company. You had the Wyatt 6 come out and they did their thing, and I'm like, again, this is the best thing I've seen. Go back and watch our reaction, folks. It was incredible to see that, and the way that the story, the backstory of Uncle Howdy, because of the pain of losing his own brother, Bray Wyatt, and stuff like that, Bo Dallas and stuff like that. It's great. And I really hope they do incorporate
the rest of the characters in there with Abby the Witch, with Huskus the Pig, with all that. And I'm like, you need to incorporate that. It would make a lot of sense. I'm just very curious where they're heading with this because you never know. You never know. So that's all my shtick on that. I am intrigued, and they have my attention immediately.
Yep. And Steve, when you saw that 5 minutes of the whole deal with the Wyatt 6 showing up, what was going through your mind?
Oh, it looked like a crime scene. It looked like a literal crime scene. It really, you had all these bodies that were laid out. You couldn't tell who was dead, who was alive, who was barely breathing, who you couldn't even make out all the faces were. Hell, I said this one thing because I really thought it would have been funny. Imagine if they kept the cameras rolling and R-Truth just walked by all these bodies on the floor, and if he just randomly screamed, "Sleep over!" I honestly would have fucking busted out laughing if that was the case, if he thought everybody just fell asleep. But you see what's been going on the past couple of weeks with the VHS tapes, with them showing up, with them taunting Chad Gable, and, you know, Jey Uso, who was literally hiding when they started showing up. It really feels like this is what Bray Wyatt would have wanted. This is what he would have done. Had he been here, we would have done a lot of similar things. And the fact that we're keeping his spirit alive is a beautiful thing to see. He had a very creative mind. He was very, I don't really know the word to use it. He was a genius when it came to his supernatural persona. If Bray Wyatt was still around, if he were to make a movie about, you know, the Wyatt 6 or any horror movie led by Bray Wyatt and how he would have run it, it would have been absolute cinema. That is what the Wyatt 6 is. I can't thank WWE enough for the way they're showing this, and it's a way to keep him around, but also show, hey, this is what he would have wanted. This is what we're gonna do. I'm really glad they kept that rather than just scrapping the idea and forgetting about it, because we should be able to honor Bray in a way that's gonna give to us fans, but not only to us, to his family, to everyone who was really close to him. This is how we're gonna keep him around. This is how we're gonna remember him, and his legacy from beyond, you know, the afterlife. It's still gonna continue here with all of us.
Yep. And Tyler, what was going through your mind when the Wyatt 6 first showed up at those 5 minutes?
Oh my God. When I found out about what had happened with Bray passing Wyndham, I legit just, so many emotions were going through me when that all happened and when we all found out about it. Bray legitimately was one of my favorites. Like, I think I mentioned it in the past on the episode that I don't know if you guys might have seen, but I mentioned how The Fiend has been one of my favorite characters. And Bray in general has always been one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, the way he did the storytelling, it just, it was so good. So for me, seeing what the story had been building to here, like all the QR codes, all the mystery, like, I was excited. I was hyped because knowing everything that we know, and even if you've seen the documentary they released on Peacock in the US a while back, which, by the way, binge, why haven't you put that documentary available in Australia? I want to watch it. Like, I get you guys probably don't want to bother putting all the Peacock documentaries on here, but come on, give us the documentaries, please. But still, hearing everything and seeing everything, it was special. The debut, in my opinion, is one of the greatest debuts in WWE history. And I think you guys can probably agree with that fact. Like, it was that damn good. Like, it felt like a horror movie. And I've seen my fair share of horror movies. Like, yeah, Bell?
He said it was great.
I said, it was great, dude. Like, very fantastic debut.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, the whole vibe, the whole feel, the horror movie-esque elements, like, It worked so well, and I felt so excited. And lately, what they have been doing with, and I'm going to bring this out here, for those people who probably may not remember, I don't think this is going to show up on the actual video, but I'm showing it to the guys. Yeah, a videotape. They've been having this whole thing with the videotapes lately, and to be honest, I've really been enjoying it. Like, the whole story we're seeing at the minute with the therapy sessions here with Bo and Howdy, like, it has been fantastic. The story that they're telling with this, I am so excited to see what's next and how it all plays in, because considering the luck that Chad Gable's been having with the Wyatt Six, like, we know for a fact that Uncle Howdy's return match is going to be him with Gable. Like, that has to be the match for SummerSlam. Like, that has to be. And I think that is going to be incredible. And to be honest, give it a few years, and this is just me thinking, but give it a few years, I actually think we're going to see a all the gold moment with the Wyatt Six. And I know for some people the idea of them holding titles probably isn't the best idea, but to be honest, for me, I think that's probably what Bray would have wanted, to have his faction go on to massive success, and especially for his brother, for Taylor, for Bo. Like, to be honest, he deserves all the success possible. Like, we've seen here with this that he's got the acting chops, that he can tell an amazing story, and honestly, I can't wait to see what's next. I'm so excited.
Yep, I'm excited too. A bit of criticism I did have regarding the whole deal was, like, Chad Gable, what they should have done was put him on the ground unconscious, because from the looks of things, it looks like he got shot in the head. So the fact that the following week, he was cleared. He's medically cleared, and he went on to win that qualifying match, has me questioning a lot of things. I'm like, that was weird. So, folks, we're going to move on from the Wyatt Six now to talk once again about the Money in the Bank ladder match. Chad Gable is one of the 6 participants in this match. Could honestly be an interesting thing if he wins it, because, like, he did say prior to his destruction at the hands of the Wyatt Six that he was going to win Money in the Bank and cash in and become World Heavyweight Champion. So there's that to consider. Let's take a look.
The crowd's going to chant at him, "He's a zombie. He's a zombie."
Perhaps.
Probably.
Or like Saudi Arabia when they were chanting, "You suck," to Kurt Angle's music, even though that didn't work to Chad Gable's music. But in my recent Sins video, I did put up a very interesting one. And that is, "Gable, you really do suck. Gable, you really do suck. Gable, you really do suck. Gable, you really suck, 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 suck." I swear, if that actually works, I might actually chant that when I'm over there, just to see if I can get that to go with the beat. And if it works, that'd be nice. And just imagine if accidentally I got the whole crowd to do that too.
Oh, that would be perfect.
It'd be like, well, that wouldn't be the first time someone from Canada gave an Olympian wrestler a "you suck" style chant to their music. Looking at you, Edge. Okay, but let's look at the other participants as well. Chad Gable was just one. Then there's Andrade, who returned, of course, at the Royal Rumble, had a moment at WrestleMania, and now, of course, he is in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He's someone who has been in Money in the Bank in 2019, and that was insane and wild. I truly thought that would have been nice if he won that one. Same on the case for Mustafa Ali, but we all know
he almost killed Finn Balor.
Yeah, he almost killed Finn Balor in that match. I remember that.
That was an amazing moment.
It was. Andrade is in the match. Some people would like to see him as Money in the Bank winner, because it'd be a nice boost for his career. Because, let's be honest, he was wasted really bad in All Elite Wrestling. And, yeah. Then you got Carmelo Hayes, called up from NXT, of course. Another guy who people think it would be great to see him as the Money in the Bank winner.
Mm-hmm.
I really think he could be an example of another guy who absolutely could take the briefcase as well, because he's someone who's, in my opinion, next to Wes Lee, the second best North American champion, held on to it twice, and each reign lasted a long time. Then of course he beat Braun Breaker and ended the 1-year title reign of Breaker. Was NXT champion for half of 2023 before he dropped it to Ilya Dragunov. Had quite a feud with Trick Williams, and even though, in my opinion, their match at Stand and Deliver fell flat on its face, it was still a really good storyline. And then he's called up to the main roster, and he's already involved in multiple opponents, whether it was Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, and even, of course, well, I think at one point it was Kevin Owens. And the fact that he's just involved in so many of these situations, especially, of course, with LA Knight. So one of his rivals is in this match, and that brings us, of course, to LA Knight. Yeah. So you have LA Knight, who last year, my God, the pops that he got from the crowd was wild, especially at SummerSlam. When I was in SummerSlam in Detroit last year, and it came out for that Battle Royal, that reaction was insane. There was almost 60,000 people just screaming like crazy, and it was awesome. I truly thought that he was going to beat Logan Paul to win the United States title at WrestleMania 40. I had even called that when Logan won the title at Crown Jewel. I'm like, all this is set up for Logan to have the title to WrestleMania, where he'll drop it to LA Knight. Of course, as we know, that didn't happen. LA Knight ended up facing and beating AJ Styles. Logan Paul retained the U.S. title with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And now, of course, from the looks of things, they're actually going to do it at SummerSlam in Cleveland, Logan's hometown. So LA Knight is going to win the title in a packed stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm like, okay, I get that then. All right, I guess that also works because it's yet another moment where we're putting this on a subpar level to WrestleMania, and that would be close to a WrestleMania moment. It's the biggest party of the summer, so it could work out. That's why I see LA Knight losing as a result of Logan Paul getting involved, of course. Carmelo Hayes, of course, is another example, like I said, of LA Knight's rivals who could potentially cost him. But I think Logan will take out LA Knight from the occasion.
And he's probably gonna promote his new cane-flavored energy drink thing, but what even is cane flavor?
Wait, are we talking the wrestler?
Yeah, they're actually making like a Prime bottle that looks just like Kane's mask.
Oh, it's that. I thought for a second they, I don't know, took Kane's DNA and put it in a drink. I was a little confused, but anyways, though.
What would cane flavor even be like?
Well,
would it be gasoline or would it be something relating to Kane mix?
It'd probably be something spicy. I can tell you that. If he's the devil's favorite demon, then that'd be the devil's favorite drink. You'd probably call it that as for the marketing or something. I don't know. But even then, main event Jey Uso, let's be honest, has been on the run of his career the last few years, especially 2023. In my opinion, in 2023, he wasn't even nominated for this on the Slammies, but he should have been Superstar of the Year. I stand by it. I don't give a crap about everything that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and the like went through. I'm like, Jey Uso had a story from start to finish, and it was an insane and motivating story that kept him in main events on PLEs, being involved in stuff, even main event in WrestleMania, main event of Money in the Bank, main event of SummerSlam, main event of this, winning championships, being on the run of a lifetime. Now he has the Fireflies, and I truly think the Wyatt Six could potentially be involved with him too. So, you never know. That's a possibility. At this point, nobody is safe. We can just assume that nobody is safe and everybody can get involved in this. That's a possibility. But in the meantime, I'm like, Jey Uso, he's on the poster. He was the first guy to declare that he wants to be in the match. He was the first guy to actually earn his spot in the match. He could very well be the guy who's the top favorite to win, in my opinion. I really don't think the crowd would mind either, because everybody yeets everywhere for main event Jey Uso, especially Pat McAfee. That's always fun to see.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, there's just so much to consider. Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, Jey Uso, and of course, the last person to qualify, Drew McIntyre. He's, of course, been through everything he's went through with the likes of CM Punk. And whether it was good, whether it was bad, and in my opinion, when it came to Clash of the Castle, it was absolutely stupid that CM Punk cost him. That was a big mistake. And you could tell when you watch the video of the crowd leaving and absolutely booing everything because that was horrible. That was a horrible thing to do. And CM Punk is absolutely the bad guy now in this situation. I don't take Drew McIntyre as the bad guy at all here anymore because at this rate, it's two guys who are just who are just absolutely making each other's lives a living hell. Nobody's got the advantage. Whether it was CM Punk with his injury, but his talks, Drew McIntyre physically kicking his ass, Punk costing him the world title not once but twice, or Drew McIntyre stealing the bracelet that, of course, had CM Punk's wife AJ Lee's name on it, and, of course, the name of his dog, and absolutely...
A very popular dog, by the way.
Yeah, it's been absolutely wild that everything has been going on, and in my opinion... It's crazy to think this is a feud that hasn't had a single match with those two because, of course, CM Punk is hurt. But it hasn't been a single match between either of them, and yet it's without a doubt the best storyline we got going on here. In my opinion, it's the best storyline we got going on here because these two are knocking it out of the park at every chance they get. And that's why I'm excited to see this match happen at SummerSlam. And I think I consider myself lucky that I'm going to be at SummerSlam to actually witness this in person. So I got a good feeling about this, and I'm excited for it. So that's why I think Punk absolutely is going to cost McIntyre the briefcase, because in my opinion, I don't think Drew McIntyre should be in the match. I really think it should have gone to Ilya Dragunov in the qualifier match. Then absolutely every last thing would be predictable. Because the thing is, I'm like, LA Knight likely going to be cost by Logan Paul. Drew McIntyre likely going to be cost by CM Punk. Chad Gable possibly cost by the Wyatt Six. That leaves Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, and Jey Uso. We literally cut half the field off because we're like, these three guys are probably going to lose because of these people interfering. Then you got these three then. Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, and Jey Uso. And all three of them, in my opinion, I wouldn't mind any of them winning. I wouldn't mind any of them winning because I think they would all deserve it. But since I say two picks, I say Carmelo Hayes and main event Jey Uso. Those are my two picks to win that case. Steep, I will start with you in this case. Your thoughts on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and your two picks to win.
Oh, it's a very stacked contenders you have here. I really thought they were going to take the route with, everyone in the match is someone who hasn't been a world champion, but they put in Drew in. Obviously, that's not the route they take. Honestly, it makes sense for Drew to be in this because, Drew wants the world title. He's constantly getting screwed out of it. When he did win it, he got cashed in on because of him getting distracted, get it all in Punk's face like that. And, there's still that whole narrative of not having a world title run from the audience, all that stuff like that. But personally, I said earlier that I predict Ethan Page would win the NXT title at Heatwave, only for my Money in the Bank winner to cash in on them. I have that person being Andrade, and on how I would book it is Andrade cashes in on Ethan Page at Heatwave after Ethan Page wins the title. And I know a lot of people can say, like, would that mean that Ethan Page would have to turn face or something like that? Not necessarily. What could happen is Ethan Page goes on this big old rant, and the NXT following Heatwave, he's destroying Ava's office because he's pissed off that he keeps getting screwed out of winning the NXT title. He didn't win it the first time at Battleground. Now that he does win it, he gets screwed out of it because he gets cashed in on. Ethan Page goes to the ring and he holds NXT hostage, causing Andrade to come out, and that sets up Andrade versus Ethan Page for the NXT title, and it would give Andrade something to do. He would be in NXT, he would hold the NXT title, and that's how you would get that match. That's my fantasy booking and what I would want to happen. Andrade is one of my picks. He's honestly my top contender pick. The person I have after that would be, if you want to establish the future, if you really want to build someone up, Carmelo Hayes. I don't know how his cash-in would go. That's up for interpretation. Me personally, I don't think he should fail, considering you want to build the future. You want him to be in that world title picture. Even if he does fail, it's okay because he'll still be back in that world title picture. I wouldn't honestly want him failing. My two picks, Andrade and Melo. That's who I would have winning. I know a lot of people would say, oh, well, Drew, because the story. Let's be honest. Drew's fan base is going to draw him back to the world title picture, no matter what. This isn't a shot to Drew fans or anything, but you guys are going to make him get back in that world title scene, briefcase or not, number one contender or not. He's always going to get back there because of his fans. We've been through this for the past 4 years. It's going to happen. So Drew doesn't really need the briefcase. And plus, Punk is most likely going to get involved. Even if Drew were to win, he's going to get screwed out of his cash-in by Punk. So it's not really going to work out for him at the end of it. It's better off him not winning, him doing this Punk feud, and his fan base just naturally getting him back there like they always do. So I'm sticking with my top pick being Andrade, and then after that, if it's not him, then I see it being Mello.
All right. Hugh Baylor, your thoughts on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and your 2 picks to win.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very, 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 very stacked card. Heck, me and Steve were talking about this yesterday. This is the most stacked Money in the Bank since probably last year, and in my opinion, it surpasses last year. You have the guy who likes to shout heat all the time. You have the guy who have the biggest CM Punk fan. You have the biggest CM Punk fan in this match since a certain Beast that we know. Wink, wink. We love you, Beastie. We got let's see. We have a bunch of other people. We have Andrade in there who's been kind of just floundering around. I feel kind of bad for the guy. Oh my God, it's just everyone in here is just has a pretty good right to be champion. You have, of course, Chad Gable, who's been screwed over so many times in the Intercontinental Championship. You have Mello, the rising star in Mello, and you have, of course, LA Knight, who is not going to win this period. No offense to him. I'm who I don't think is going to win, who I think is going to win. Andrade, I wouldn't mind it. I think it'd be a new thing for him. He has not done anything really since coming back. You've been showing vignettes for him. You've been doing this and that, but what have you really done with him? Oh, he's speed. Who the heck watches Speed? Who the heck watches Speed? Nobody.
I mean, those who have X, they absolutely watch it because they can just click a button.
And if you have Twitter, that's cool, Grace.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, I love that. The artist known for us. Exactly. You have, of course, LA Knight. Same thing. Yeah, he's in the U.S. title picture. People are saying he's going to win last year. Again, he's not winning this year. LA Knight, just like Drew McIntyre, will carry his popularity with his fan base. He'll be fine. Plus, he's winning the U.S. title. It's all good. We have Carmelo. Hey, actually, I'm gonna save him for probably second to last. You have Jey Uso, the guy who likes to eat all the time. He's very popular with the fans. Them following him around, stuff like that. The whole entrance with the fans is great. The eating around, that's pretty cool. You can give him the briefcase. He's literally on the poster, Yeet in the Bank and all that. That's why I'm not really going to pick him. I'm not going to pick him, so I could see him winning. So it falls down to 2 people. It's either going to be, Chad Gable. Chad Gable, again, I want it. I really want it. But I don't see it happening because of the whole Wyatt 6 thing. If the Wyatt 6 thing didn't happen, Chad would have had a great opportunity to win this. Honestly, he would be my main pick right now to win Money in the Bank. But just like Steve had it with him, I'm going to do the same thing. I have 2 picks to win Money in the Bank this year. It's either going to be Carmelo Hayes. Yep, Carmelo Hayes. Or it's going to be Drew McIntyre. My main pick to win Money in the Bank. Well, let me talk to the person I don't think is going to win. My second to last. Drew McIntyre is my second to last pick. No, my bad. Carmelo Hayes is my second to last pick. Because, again, like Steve said, you want to make the rising star. The others are already really big stars. If you think about it, Jay is already a star. Chad's a star. LA Knight's a star. Andrade is a star in the rising, I guess. But again, they're not doing anything with them, which is why I could also see him win Money in the Bank. You got the whole thing with Chad, with Carmelo Hayes, with his gimmick. It fits the briefcase. He's arrogant. He's pompous. He's a dick. And Money in the Bank's usually fit for heels. That's why I think a heel is winning Money in the Bank in both matches. I think a heel is winning in both matches, both men and women. It just fit. Royal Rumbles honestly fit faces more than the Money in the Bank. That's just me. So yeah, but Carmelo Hayes' gimmick, I don't know how to cash in. Just like Steve said, you got that whole thing. He has a whole year. You can build it up. Maybe his first opponent on SmackDown was Cody. Hit Cody.
I need nothing but net off the ladder.
Yes. Stay join in, bro. What you got?
We were talking about this at the same time yesterday. What you got?
Yeah, it's like when we spoke about this, and it's like a lot of people in this. I don't know this. Okay, the Money to Make match itself is stacked, but it's after the match I'm worried about. It really feels like a lot of people here will fail their cash-ins. Maybe the person who doesn't feel there's the most likely would be Jey Uso, but I honestly don't think Jey would win because he's gonna get roped back into this Bloodline story. Honestly, I think after Money in the Bank. No, not after, because that'll be too soon. Maybe a couple months or weeks after, Paul Heyman's going to show up on Raw. He's going to be crying and everything, and he's going to say to Jey Uso, I need your help. And that's where the camera cuts away from him. I just really don't. And like I said, Andrade's best bet would be the NXT title. If he cashes in on the main roster, he's definitely losing. There ain't no hesitation about that. Drew would get screwed. Chad would get screwed. LA Knight, Logan Paul is right there. Your feud is with him. And even if you were to win, would it Logan screw you out of your cash in just to elevate your feud?
Exactly.
So really, who wins this and what do they do after that? It seems like now everybody in this match has some type of person or group or whatever it is holding them back from cashing in. Andrade doesn't. Melo doesn't. It's too early for Melo.
Yeah, it is.
And Andrade would just straight up fail. You're not cashing in on Cody. You ain't cashing in on Priest or Rollins or whoever the world champion is by the end of the night. I don't really see that happening. So this whole thing is really like,
it's like they're setting someone up to fail, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, I'd rather have somebody not in the match just come in and grab the briefcase. Somebody.
It's like Finn Balor should have been in this match. Everyone's been waiting for it. Finn Balor should have been in this match. They had the opportunity to do that, and they squandered it. I know there's a bigger story with Finn out there. I know Taylor, he doesn't really need the Money in the Bank briefcase, but if you think about storyline-wise, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Especially when we're talking about during the ending of this show, which I do think will main event this show. Is the World Heavyweight Championship, because whoever wins this match, I think this show, either this match is kicking off the show, or it's gonna be in the middle of the card. The world title is closing the show for a reason. There's a reason the world title is closing the show. Finn Balor should have been. I'm not saying this because I'm biased, but I'm saying this because actually, if you think about it, it's kind of true. Finn Balor should have been in this match because you think the whole story with the Judgment Day, the whole thing with Priest, the whole thing, they're literally tying into the storyline with Seth Rollins now being the number contender, obviously, with Damian Priest being world champ, with what we've been seeing on Raw and SmackDown. Finn Balor should have been in this match, and he should have won Money in the Bank. But they didn't do that. Here's your title run, Prince. Again, I'm great. I'm happy for him. I still think big things are coming. Stay the course, ladies and gentlemen. But Finn, if you think about it, should have been Money in the Bank. That's just how it should have been. Yeah, Melo, again, that's him. Thanks, by the way, Steeps. Yeah, Melo, he's been doing pretty good. I can see him winning. I got this feeling, and I don't want this to happen, but my main pick to win Money in the Bank, and I'm going to swallow my freaking guts when I say this, is going to be Drew McIntyre.
I mean, if you swallow your guts, it's going back to where they belong anyway.
Well, that is true, Christian. That is true. Drew McIntyre, I think, is winning Money in the Bank because the whole thing with him getting back the world title, blah, 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 he's getting screwed over. And yes, it's a failed Money in the Bank cash-in. Yes, he would be getting screwed over. But dang it, I just see WWE going that route.
Hey, you did it to Theory, now you do it to Drew.
Exactly. They're the same thing to Drew McIntyre. I just see them doing this. Drew McIntyre. Screw it, do it, get it over with, Drew McIntyre, whatever. I hope Melo wins, though. Anyone except Jey Uso. No offense, Jey doesn't need it. No offense to Jey, you don't need it. You're already good. Same with LA Knight, you don't need it. The only people who could probably use it, Andrade, Melo, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Just no one finds it odd that the Bloodline and Jey are going to be in the same building that night. They're bound to interact some way, somehow. Something's happening.
Dude, Jay's going to interrupt that freaking 6-man tag. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it right now. And they're going to screw him over out of the Money in the Bank. So it either has Carmelo Hayes or Drew McIntyre.
Really, the other thing more about it, it's like anybody could win this match, and at the same time, anybody can get screwed over, too.
Yeah, like they're making it unpredictable, which is fine, but it's just some of the people in here that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm being biased as hell, but Finn should have been in this match.
I mean, it's understandable, man. I can get that, actually. I got shocked when I found out Jey Uso was in the qualifying match with Finn Balor. I'm like, I would think they would both be in the match.
That's what worried me. And when Finn took the pin, I'm like, here we go. Here's Finn. Here's your freaking tag title run. And we'll talk about Finn when we get to the main event. Trust me. But Finn should have been in this match, man. He really should have been in this match. And he should have won this match.
Maybe
a lot of people on social media were saying the same thing too.
Huh. Ironically enough, Finn rhymes with Pin.
Yeah. And Mind the Bank fits heels. That's why I think Drew McIntyre is going to be the one. I mean, Andrade is a heel, but let's be honest. I love Andrade. I think he's pretty cool. But is he really going to be stopping the main champions going forward?
You never know.
And I'm talking. What's up?
You never know.
He's not, he's not. No one's beating Super Rhodes. Nobody's beating Super Rhodes right now. Oh, I like Cody, but seriously, let's be honest here. Nobody's beating Cody right now, and nobody dang sure is beating the ring general when he gets the world championship. Whenever it may be. It could be Bash for Berlin, it could be SummerSlam. He's getting the world championship regardless this year. And nobody's stopping that reign.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nobody. So really think about it. They're going to go with, I really think they're going to go with Drew McIntyre. I hope they shock us and give it to Melo or Andrade. Because they're the only two people I can really think of who could benefit from this, honestly.
Dude, I really hope AJ Lee's theme hits when Drew's climbing.
Yes. Dude, let me clap on something as well. So our friend Dustin said this. And Steve, you can join us. We talked about this with him. He threw out the idea that Chad Gable would be taken out backstage by the Wyatt Six, and then someone replaces Chad Gable, and it would be Finn Balor. And Finn Balor wins Money in the Bank because Chad Gable will get taken out.
Possible.
What do y'all think of that?
You know, now that I think about that, yeah, you could do the Chad. You could also do it with the Jay. The Bloodline confronts Jay backstage for, trying to interrupt their match, and they take out Jay. Honestly, yeah, Finn could replace somebody in this match and win.
You could even do it with LA Knight in a way if you want.
Yeah. Somebody in this match could get taken out, and Finn could just, take their spot.
It's like, oh, well, that's never happened. Do you not remember 2019? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
Well, technically, yeah, that's right. Sami Zayn did get attacked, and as it turns out, he was attacked by Brock Lesnar, who took his spot in the match. So that is possible. We can never take things as, oh, that's not going to happen, because you never know at this point. Anything is possible, no matter what. Chad Gable, in this case, I think, would be the likely one to be attacked due to the fact that he's already still being stalked by the Wyatt Six. No matter what's going on. That could be a possibility. All I do know is I am keeping a shield and a lightsaber with me, because I am not going to take chances of the Wyatts. I cannot have them kill me too.
Oh, yeah.
They're just making everything just... Again, it's not really the people who are the issue. It's just the placement of how they went with everything. Finn and Jay should have never been in a qualifying match together. First of all, that shouldn't have never happened. Second of all, honestly, if you think about it, now people are mad that Ilya Dragunov's not in this match. Honestly, give him time. He'll be there. Give it time. People are mad that Dakota Kai is not in the women's match. Again, I feel your pain with Balor. I feel your pain. Their time is coming. There's just and we'll get to the World Championship in just a second, but it's like, again, we just got to bring it to the surface. Nobody's really talking about the big issues with the Money in the Bank. With this, specifically this match. The women's match is fine, because it's pretty much two contenders who could win that match. Straightforward. There could be a third one, but let's be honest, it's going to be either Tiffany or freaking Chelsea. This match is more unpredictable. Even last year, y'all remember this last year, I was literally saying Damian Priest is going to win Money in the Bank. And no, LA Knight's winning. Damian Priest is going to win. LA Knight. Damian Priest is going to win. And Damian Priest won. So they're saying the same thing about Jey Uso. Oh, Jey Uso's going to win Money in the Bank. Jey Uso's on the cover. Jey Uso this and that. Jey Uso's not winning Money in the Bank, I don't think. I just don't see it. They're making everything just so unpredictable. I like it, but at the same time, I don't like it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, everything's just not really pulling together.
All right. Understandable.
Yeah.
So you got your 2 picks in order as well?
What's up? Are my 2 picks?
Yeah.
My main picks in order. Again, I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre winning, but my backup's gonna be Carmelo Hayes.
Alrighty, we have
Finn Balor
Steve.
somehow makes it this match, I'm gonna lose my shit, but I don't think he's making it.
I might lose my shit on your behalf since I'm gonna be there.
Exactly. Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, Steve, I got yours. Will, I got yours, and now Tyler, it is your turn to talk your thoughts on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and your 2 picks.
Oh boy. So when I found out I was gonna be here on the podcast, I legit was thinking about who would win the men's Money in the Bank match, because this year it feels just so unpredictable as such. Like, it's really hard to pick a winner this year out of the slate we got. And I had 3 people in mind who could win it, but now that it's all set in stone, let me go through all of them here. First up, main event Jey Uso. I like main event Jey Uso. I think he's doing some good stuff. I'm loving what they're doing with him. The whole yeet thing. It's just fun. Like, that's the thing. He's been really fun. But is he gonna win Money in the Bank? No. Like, look, I think eventually he will be a world champion. Don't get me wrong, but not yet. Not yet for Jey. Like, I give it a year or two, and he might actually win a world title, but right now, I just don't see it. Carmelo Hayes. If you follow me on social media, then you guys probably already know my thoughts on Melo, but for those who don't, controversial opinion, but I think Carmelo's mid. Like, I'm sorry, I am not a fan of Carmelo Hayes. I'm not a fan of his gimmick, especially. Like, this whole him thing, like, him being, like, better than everybody else. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the appeal of Carmelo Hayes compared to, like, the other guys he came up with in NXT? Like, Ilya or Breaker or Wesley? Like, what's his appeal?
You do.
I don't get it.
You do have a good point on something and everything, and that was like his catchphrase, Melo don't miss. Throughout his main roster run, he's been missing.
Yeah, like, throughout his main roster run, he's just basically been like, oi, I got one of the highest draft picks. So what? The draft, I mean, as we've seen over the last few years, the draft doesn't really matter. So, like, what's your big deal on that? Like, I'm sorry, I am not a Melo fan, and I will never get the appeal of Melo. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Andrade.
I respect that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Andrade. Honestly, I'm glad he's back in WWE. Like, his AEW run was not great. Like, the whole Hardy family office.
It's okay, you can call it trash. It's alright, no one's gonna kill you here.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Hardy family office shit that he was doing, it's like, God, that was terrible. That was just terrible. I mean, look, his WWE run right now isn't the best. I mean, the Rumble return was amazing. The match he had at Mania was cool, but probably not really fitting of Mania, but it was still a good match. But yeah, I feel like Money in the Bank could be good for him, but I don't know. I think hold off and wait to do him a U.S. title run again. Like, give him the U.S. title eventually. I think that will work out perfectly for Andrade. Chad Gable. Now, honestly, when the heel turn first happened, I was like, why? Why would you turn him heel? He is that good as a babyface. But now that it's been a few months later, it's kind of paying off. Like, I'm enjoying what they're doing with Chad Gable. And even if I may not be the biggest fan of the heel turn, it's enjoyable. Like, it's enjoyable what they're doing. And I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but Money in the Bank? No. Like, I just don't see him winning Money in the Bank, especially with the Wyatt 6 being around. And I know some people saying, oh, he could be taken out backstage. I'm not sure. I don't know if he will be taken out backstage, but yeah, there is just no way that Zombie Gable is going to win. Like, watch, they're going to change his theme song to the bloody Plants vs. Zombies theme. Down, etc., etc. So, right. Now we get to the two people who I'm thinking are going to win. First, we've got LA Knight. Now, yes, I know he is busy feuding with Logan Paul and that kind of thing, but, I mean, that didn't stop Miz in 2010. I mean, he won the Money in the Bank in 2010, and a little bit later, he won the U.S. title.
Actually, he was being. Well, actually, he won. He was already U.S. champion before he won Money in the Bank.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is kind of that set in where, like, even if you win another belt or, like, you hold another belt, you could still win Money in the Bank. Like, that is the case. I mean, I do feel like he'd make a great Mr. Money in the Bank. I mean, come on, the crowd love him. And I'm a huge fan of LA Knight. I think what he's doing is fantastic. And, yeah, he is definitely going to be U.S. champion sooner rather than later. But I also think he is definitely due of being a world champion. Like, I feel like, and this is just me, I feel like you could probably have him win Money in the Bank and then wait until, like, Backlash for him to cash in. I know that's a while away, but, I mean, it could work. But while Knight is definitely my secondary pick to win, my main pick to win Money in the Bank this year is Drew McIntyre. Like, honestly, I know everyone's saying, oh, Punk is going to come back and take him out and that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, that could happen, but, I mean, you're doing Punk versus Drew at SummerSlam regardless. Like, no doubt about it. Doesn't matter if Drew wins the briefcase or not. You're doing the match regardless. And I know people saying, oh, he could cost them. Honestly, I think there is a much longer-term story they could go for this. And I'll talk about when we get to the World Heavyweight title match in a sec. But to be honest, when it comes to this, for this long-term story, I think Drew has to win it. I think Drew has to be the one to win it.
Alrighty, not bad indeed. Just goes to show that the Money in the Bank ladder matches we got are unpredictable in their own ways. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, controversial, not controversial, this person, that person. In the end, us fans, we win. That's the part that I love about this the most. With that being said, folks, getting close to the 3-hour mark on the podcast, and we are heading on to talk about the main event here. For the World Heavyweight Championship, yet another last chance match. We talked a last chance match earlier about an Obafemi and Wes Lee, and now we're talking the last chance match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest, the champion, defending against Seth freaking Rollins. And if Damian Priest wins, Seth can never challenge for the title as long as Damian is champion. However, if Seth wins, Damian Priest must leave the Judgment Day. So there is consequences regardless of the winner here. This is why I'm like, it's a really tough thing to talk about. Some people, and also this match is kind of a mirror to last year's Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins was WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He defended against Finn Balor. Damian Priest got involved trying to cash in the Money in the Bank contract and accidentally cost Finn the title as a result of that. And then now we have Damian Priest, who is the champion. Seth Rollins is the challenger. And Finn Balor, of course, could be involved in the situation. Willie, I know you have quite a lot to say about that, isn't that right?
I don't have much to say, honestly. I'll probably go second after the first person. I don't have much to say. Probably, I would guess, maybe Steve or Tyler have more to say about it than I do.
That's all right, though. I just figured, because I know you have quite a bit to say about your boy again.
Oh, I got a lot to say about it. Don't worry.
But that's why I decided we'll go with you first, man. So far, I'll ask you, what is your thoughts on the World Heavyweight Championship match situation?
So the World Heavyweight Championship situation has been very interesting. Damien's been carrying himself well as World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought he was gonna lose. I actually thought he was gonna lose Drew McIntyre. Yeah, I was. Even with CM Punk there, I'm like, I think he might lose. So when he didn't lose, I'm like, okay, he's gonna go on to face the Ring General, and beat him. But not beat him. He's not beating anybody at this point. Honestly, nobody's beat. Regardless, I will say this, regardless of who wins this match, you're not getting past the Ring General Walter. You're not. Say your thing.
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Gunther. Ha! Ha! You didn't hear me. Ha! Good.
That's because I was paying attention. Sorry, I was too busy getting excited for the fact that my weekend is starting.
Oh, okay. So I get a free pass. Let's freaking go.
Yeah, you get a free pass. You can say it now.
Yes. So the whole thing with Walter, that's a big thing.
Gunther!
Fuck you.
I told you, man. Gotcha.
Dang it. Dang it.
It's all right.
Regardless, whoever wins this match, you're falling to the Ring General. The whole thing with that is interesting. Okay, and originally, I had Damian Priest winning. I'll get to him in just a second. Let's talk about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins returning in this whole thing. Of course, came out Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago. He's staring at the ladder match. Maybe I should enter Money in the Bank. Yeah, totally good for a guy who almost blew out both of his knees. Totally good for you, Seth. But legit, I'm glad you're back. I'm very glad you're back. I'm glad you grew your hair back as well, because you were like Colonel Sanders out there. So good for you for being back. And then going into this whole thing, I'm like, okay, Damien's gonna win. It's all good. There's no way that Seth is winning the title back. Seth is a generous dude. He's gonna put him over. Oh, here's a stipulation. WWE says. Well, I'm like, what stipulation? Oh, if Damien wins, he's basically out of Judgment Day. Oh, yeah, and if Seth Rollins loses, he is now never allowed to challenge for the world title ever again as long as Damien's champ. I'm like, great. Interesting. There we go. Just why I need a stipulation in my face. Like I said, this is where the Money in the Bank would come in. I have Drew McIntyre picked to win Money in the Bank because I feel like regardless of whoever wins this match is being cashed in on. Do I think it'll be successful? No. That's where Drew's going to be failing his cash. I think that's what's going to happen. Or maybe he'll hold on to it for all we know. Maybe he knows CM Punk is going to be coming out to get him. Maybe he'll hold it off. As for who I think is going to win this match, well, we'll get to this in just a second because my guy comes into fray. Finn Balor, tag team champion, all that. He overheard Damian Priest saying that he doesn't need the Judgment Day, the Judgment Day needs him, so he called Damian out of his bullshit, like any good brother would do. So, basically, Finn Balor told him off, and basically said that he's the problem. Which, if you think about it, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of is the problem at the same time. Finn, aren't you the one? Actually, no. Why am I blaming Finn? He didn't really do anything last year. He didn't really do anything. He's being good. He just chased his almost 8 years of redemption story. It's all good for Finn Balor. He deserves that right to be upset. And didn't Damien get involved in your match last year too? Just saying, it would kind of make it fair for him to get involved in this one here with Finn Balor. Because nobody else, I think, will interfere in this match outside of Finn.
Not to mention, of course, sorry to interrupt, but not to mention, of course, Damien interrupted Finn's match, not just on Money in the Bank, but also at SummerSlam, so twice in a row.
Exactly, so it makes storyline-wise sense for Finn Balor to interfere in this match. I wouldn't say intention. I mean, maybe he doesn't intentional. Did you see that sly smile that the Prince had? Or I'm sorry, not the Prince. The pussy. Not the Prince. This isn't the Prince. This isn't the Prince. I love you, Finn, but this is not the Prince.
The cat?
What?
The cat?
Do not remind me of that nickname they had with him. Yeah, horrible stuff. With Finn Balor, on Raw, Damien's like, I love you, man, but I don't need you interfering in my business. I'm thinking, you were interfering in his business last year. He has a right to interfere in your business. Idiot. So, I'm gonna go with. It's so tricky because I think the Money in the Bank is coming into play regardless. I think what's gonna happen is that towards the end of the match, it's gonna be a ref bump, and then Drew McIntyre is gonna make his way to the ring. He's gonna try and cash in. There's not gonna be a referee though, and then I think what's gonna is that Drew or Seth is gonna notice that he'll get in Drew's face like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? It's gonna distract Seth
long enough for Damian Priest to hit the South of Heaven afterwards, and Damian's going to retain. So I'm going to go with Damian Priest slightly retaining. I'm probably going to be wrong about this, but I'm going to go with Damian slightly retaining. Now, I do want to see the main general and Seth Rollins, too. And I do want to see Damian Priest and Gunther. It doesn't matter the way. Regardless of whoever wins this match, you're not winning at SummerSlam. You're not. You're just not winning. So I'm going to go with Damian Priest to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And then on Raw afterwards, there's going to be shenanigans and, all that stuff. There's going to be the story of, like, Finn or Damian probably knows that Finn was about to screw him over. There's going to be part of that. I feel like Triple H likes Damian. I feel like, why would you go through Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, by the way, only to lose to the guy who basically is Triple H's pet project since day one? That wouldn't put it past him to put the title on Seth. I wouldn't, and I would not like it at all. No offense to Seth. You don't need it. And again, you'd be placeholder for the ring general to beat at SummerSlam. And that's fine. But I feel like there's more with Damian and Finn Balor at SummerSlam. I don't know. The whole thing's just weird. Regardless, I think Damian's going to retain. That's what I slightly retain. They got Damian Priest.
Yeah, the way I see it, like, we win either way. We either get Damian Priest beats Seth Rollins and goes on to face and lose to Gunther at SummerSlam, or Damian Priest loses to Seth Rollins as a result of Finn Balor, and Damian fights Finn Balor at SummerSlam.
There's one scenario we didn't talk about, though. Damian would retain, but then Drew McIntyre cashes in. But then CM Punk or whoever shows up and distracts him, and then he beats Drew McIntyre again, and then Drew McIntyre loses his cash-in. Which, that'd be hysterical. But I don't know. I'm very torn. But I think that Damian's going to squeeze out a win. I don't know how he's going to do it. I feel like Triple H really likes Damian. It's showing. He wouldn't have this long of a title reign if he didn't like Damian. He wouldn't entrust Damian to beat Drew McIntyre if he wasn't this invested in Damian Priest. And I'm sure with saying that you never can bet against Big Nose and his pet project, Seth Rollins. Again, I like Seth.
Did you just call him Big Nose?
Yeah, Big Nose. I mean, Steve knows about that. It's Big Nose.
Golden Goose. Oh, yeah.
That's
You got fucking Triple H with his Pinocchio nose.
Exactly.
Who do you call him? Pinhead.
Pinhead. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, with Seth Rollins out there, you never know. So I could see Seth winning. It wouldn't be surprising. But I'm sticking with my gut. I'm going with Damian. I hope it happens. And then I really want to see Damian and Walter. I really want to see it. Again, there he goes again.
And also, and also, you're sticking with the guts that you swallowed, right?
Yes, I am. Next.
Yeah, next indeed. Steve, you are up next. Your thoughts on the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Grab your popcorn.
I don't see the reason why Seth needs to come back and win the title back. You were the inaugural champion of this new iteration of the world title. You had a reign almost a year long. What is the purpose of you coming back? Now, I'm not going to lie. Seth Rollins should be rewarded. Yes, he went through all that, at Mania, performing both nights. One in the main event, and then the next night in the opening. He did that with his knee popped out and a broken back. No doubt, Seth, you have done a lot. You're a workhorse. You came back earlier than you were supposed to because you're such a company guy. You like this business. You like the guy who's running this. When Vince was here, you were still a company guy. He's always been like that. I'm not denying Seth's love for the company, and the things he's been getting have been deserving at times. But you don't need to come back and win the title back that you just lost. You made the title what it was. We needed you to build up that title. You did that for a year. Enough is enough. Seth Rollins, you can honestly go and do other stuff in the company. You don't need to be in this world title picture. And like we said, the person who wins here is going to drop it to Gunther. I'd rather the match be Damian Priest and Gunther. So yes, I'm picking Damian to retain, but only for the reasons of why does Seth need to get the title back. Yeah, he lost it at Mania, but no matter what, he was going to end up dropping it anyway because obviously he had to go get surgery on his knee. And remember, there's that whole thing with his back. He never got his back repaired, so we're going to go through that all over again. I don't really see a reason why Seth needs to come back and be champion all over again. Well, yes, the story of Priest getting kicked out the Judgment Day, losing because of the Judgment Day trying to interfere and it backfiring on them. That would be a great story. That would be a great story between Finn and Damian. The problem with that, Finn and Damian should have the title on the line. It's always been about the title. I don't think that there's anything else. Finn has a story out there that's been building for years, for almost a decade. Finn didn't, get to win the title when he got back from injury. Like, Finn had to go back to NXT once or twice just so he could be back on the main roster. So why does Chef have that opportunity? For what? Yeah, he's the company guy. He's Golden Goose. He's Triple H's. He's a Triple H guy, probably the first Triple H guy under NXT. We can put that aside for now. Seth doesn't need the title. He made the title what it was. He's been champion enough. If Finn didn't get the chance to win the title when he got back from injury, then honestly, Seth shouldn't either. I'm only playing a fair game. I think Priest is absolutely retaining. I think there's still going to be a tear there in the Judgment Day, and I think that somewhere down along the line, Finn and Priest will happen. Priest is going to get that world title back, and Finn is going to be the one to take it off of Priest. Because I think this ultimately ends with Finn and Priest. I want to see at Mania for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't see it ending any other way. It doesn't have to be Mania necessarily, but it has to end with Finn beating Priest for the world title.
Alrighty, not bad.
And are people forgetting Finn's tag champion? Just saying.
Unfortunately, yes, we are.
Well, duh, because again, I said this before when he won it. Again, I'm very proud of him. He's literally been in WWE for a decade. For God's sake, it's his birthday month. I'm proud of him. But at the same time, he didn't need to be tag team champ. I understand why Triple H gave it to him. Here's your consolation prize, friends. And I'm glad he's teaming with Jordan Devlin. That's great. That's awesome. But same time,
JD McDonough.
Most people wanted Finn to be in the Money in the Bank contract. And I understand why. Again, I understand why he's not in there. But at the same time, if you wanted to be storyline-wise, you could have given Finn Money in the Bank. Because they gave Priest Money in the Bank last year. And the storyline with the Judgment Day. Okay, I understand why they did it, but I personally just don't like it. That's just me.
All right.
No, I need to really get Finn out of the Judgment Day. Because it really... Why does Priest needs to get kicked out? If anything, Finn should be the one either leaving or getting booted.
Because they see more Priest as like the baby face. To be fair, Finn fits more of the heel role anyways. But at the same time, the whole thing isn't about Damian or Finn. The whole storyline is basically revolving around Liv Morgan taking over Judgment Day. So if anything, Finn and Damian do their own things. If anything, Dominic and you have JD, who's really doing nothing, which he's tag champ. That's great. He's basically. Then you have Carlito. I'm not even counting him as one of the Judgment Day. Yeah, that's going to happen. By the way, that's going to happen.
Carlito is basically like the NWO B team of the Judgment Day.
Yes, he's basically. Carlito is basically what JD was last year. He's the punching bag. He's the whipping mule until they put him in the Judgment Day, which Judgment Day shouldn't exist past this year. No more Judgment Day.
Yeah.
No more after this. Finn should be solo. Priest should be solo. Everyone should be flying solo nowadays. It's legit. Flying solo in this entire thing. Because after this, no more Judgment Day.
Honestly, that's how you keep Finn in that hill run. He should just, abandon the Judgment Day. Or do something that's going to drive a wedge between them. I can't see, Priest being the one to go, no matter what scenario it is. I think the Judgment Day disbands, and I think a big part of that is going to be Liv Morgan. She's doing this whole thing where she's seducing Dominic and stuff. When Rhea comes back, a whole lot of people are about to get messed up. A whole lot of people.
Exactly.
And Dominic won't be getting his nuggets.
Yeah.
Dominic won't be getting his nuggets.
Yeah, he won't be getting his nuggets. Not at all. It's just the whole thing of, like, where are they going to go with this? And then putting that stipulation out there. I know Damian stood tall, but it's like, why would you have Damian leave under that stipulation? Really? Wouldn't you want to kick him out, like physically kick him out? I would like the slow burn of Damian. I know it's been a long, slow burn. Don't get me wrong. I know there's been a long, slow burn. But really? A stipulation is the reason why Damian leaves the Judgment Day? Really? Whatever, WWE. Whatever. I think Damian needs to retain. If anything, Finn should cost him at SummerSlam. That's where the betrayal should happen. Not freaking Money in the Bank. Really? If anything, the betrayal should happen at SummerSlam. That's where Finn almost lost That's where Finn lost the second time. So then Damian Priest should losing his title match. By the way, Seth, if you're rubbing salt in the wounds over Finn holding a title for like less than a day, keep in mind he held the inaugural champ that you were the inaugural title holder of, and he held it longer than you ever have. You're welcome, by the way. You're welcome. You're welcome. So stop rubbing salt in the Balor wound.
You also got cashed in on the same night after you won the title.
Exactly. So I don't freaking hear anything, Seth. I like you and all, but my God, that dude has so much like points. Oh, Balor's jealous of Seth's success. No, I like Seth. I just figure that Finn needs to be up there.
Because he's a company guy weirdo that gets a whole lot of stuff. I'm not saying you can't be a company guy, but like, dude, new people need a chance.
I know Finn's not new, but damn. Oh yeah, and Drew McIntyre, regardless, you're failing your cash in. I would get
different.
Like, because I don't know what this is main eventing. This is main eventing the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing else is closing. This is main eventing the show. And it's going to be low stakes. Like, I just see Damian Priest somehow. I feel there's going to be a ref bump. There is going to be a ref bump. I feel like they're going to do a ref bump. Drew McIntyre is going to show up. CM Punk will probably make his appearance, maybe interfere again. And I think Damian squeezes out a win. If he doesn't, then whatever. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Give Seth the belt, whatever. I really just don't think Seth needs to win this match. That's just me.
Yes.
And what does Seth do at SummerSlam? I don't freaking know. I don't know what Seth does at SummerSlam. That's not my concern what Seth does at SummerSlam.
I have an idea.
Go for it.
He could be guest enforcer for the Drew and Punk match.
I guess. Maybe he freaking, I don't know, he goes to NXT. I don't freaking know what Seth does at SummerSlam. He doesn't need to be in the top. I know he would be
special guest commentator?
Nah. I know like what Punk would be, like what Becky Lynch was to the Women's Championship in NXT. Here's the difference, though, with that. Becky didn't need it either. I know it's to elevate people. I get it. Elevate. She did the same thing with the Women's World title this year. Again, I said before, she didn't need it then. But they did it anyways. So I see them give it to Seth, but I'm going with Priest. Because I feel like he's got so much left in the tank. Like Mark Henry, so much left. That he beat Drew McIntyre. He beat Drew McIntyre. Clean, well, ish. Like, just give him the win. Give Damian the win, please. Take over, Tyler. Take over. We already have people in the comments going to be probably upset, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Tyler, it's your move, man.
Love hearing the opinions, guys. We love you guys. Legit.
All right. Yeah, we love you guys. But before I get on to the whole title situation here, can I just say, since I wasn't on the podcast around the time of the belt's introduction, but a year on, can I just say how gorgeous the World Heavyweight title is? Like, bringing back the big gold belt. Like, bring back the big gold belt. And having this new version, which I'm referring to personally as the Big Gold V2, honestly...
Call it Mini Gold.
Yeah, we call it Mini Gold.
Well, honestly, I love the belt. I think it's stunning, and I think it just fits with the modern-day WWE product.
I lost my shit when they unveiled that. That's my title, man. I lost my shit when they unveiled it.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. So we've got... This is interesting because we've got this stipulation here. I mean, we've got the man who, when Netflix gets the rights to Raw, will most likely be called Seth fucking Rollins, taking on a man who's been having some... Oh, yes, that too. This is a man who's been having a bit of faction dilemma in Damian Priest. And obviously the stipulation is set where it's like, if Priest loses, he has to leave the Judgment Day. But if Priest wins, Seth cannot get another shot for the belt. I mean, yeah, obviously there's all this inner turmoil with Judgment Day at the minute, especially caused by old Liv Morgan, who is fueled by Stan energy for some apparent reason. But to be honest with this, I honestly think it's an easy one for me to predict, because even though we have all that, even though we've got Liv taking over Judgment Day and that kind of thing, Seth's losing. Like, Priest has to win, because, I mean, look, Seth was a great champion. He elevated that belt to kick it off, but by putting in the stipulation that, oh, if he loses, he cannot get another shot, you're basically telling us that, yeah, he's losing. And I get why some people might say that Seth would win because all the old Judgment Day inner turmoil, but I think that's actually going to come later. And to be honest, that this is where Priest needs this win. He needs to prove his dominance as the leader of the Judgment Day here and prove why he is the top champion going into SummerSlam when he faces Gunther. And you know what? I'm just going to say this right now, but I feel like this is going to happen. SummerSlam is where you do the turn for Finn, but instead of Finn kicking Priest out of Judgment sort of thing, I think Finn will leave Judgment Day, and I know you might be surprised about what I'm thinking here, but I think Finn Balor will join Imperium. I think Finn Balor is going to be the newest member of Imperium. And I know that sounds like a weird idea, but I mean, I feel like it could work. And having Finn kind of act like this underboss in a way to Gunther, that I think that's going to work so well. And when we eventually get to a point where we do Balor versus Gunther, I think it's going to mean a whole lot more. Now, I did mention about Drew McIntyre and how he plays into all this.
Yeah.
I think Drew McIntyre is not going to cash in on the night. I think Drew is going to hold off on the cash in because I feel like, and this is just me speculating, obviously it's not an official sort of booking like this is what they're going to do type thing, but here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, Priest is going to retain that Money in the Bank and lose to Gunther. Then Gunther, I think he's going to beat Ilya Dragunov at Bash in Berlin. Have the match at Bash in Berlin.
Yes.
And then, and I know obviously people are saying that there's not going to be a September pay-per-view. I feel like there's going to be a September pay-per-view. And I think for that show, it's going to be CM Punk versus Gunther. Now, obviously, you don't want Gunther to lose, obviously. So this is when you cash in and you have Drew pin Punk and Drew wins the belt, continuing their feud, which then goes into Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell for the title, and that's when I coronate Punk. That's when the feud ends with Punk at the top, finally conquering Drew and winning the title. And I know that's unlikely, but I feel like that's the direction they're going to go in for the future. And I think the way you start it here is to sow the seeds of dissension in a way by having Drew come out during the Priest versus Rollins match, but he does not cash in. He does not get involved. He most likely will join commentary, and he will basically just make fun of the both of them and that kind of thing, and he won't cash in. He'll tease it, but he just won't cash in. I feel like that's what they're going to do, but yeah, I think Priest is winning.
Do you guys think there's a possibility that, just all of y'all, do y'all think there's a possibility that Priest could get past the ring general at SummerSlam only to be taken out by Balor down the road? Do you think they are building up the slow burn for Finn Balor to take the title off Priest? Or are they just moving on with him getting out of Judgment Day?
I mean, who knows at this point? At this rate, like, you know, Tyler, you mentioned, like, the phrase, like, it's unlikely at this point. After CM Punk came back last year, I think nothing is unlikely anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I'm obviously not sure when it comes to a fair bit of the ideas I'm pitching in here, but to be honest, like, if anything was to happen that I suggested throughout this video, to be honest, I think the whole Finn joining Imperium and taking out Priest and Punk beating Drew McIntyre for the world title thing, I think that's the most likely thing to happen.
Possibly indeed.
Okay.
Whew.
I still think the show is ending with I think it's either ending with a tease of a cash in or it's ending with a cash in. That's why I don't see Jey Uso winning, because I don't know. I just don't see it. Especially with this main eventing. It's like, oh, this will open the card. No, this is closing. This is closing the show. I guarantee you this is closing the show. Unless like Roman Reigns does return and the 6-man tag closes. The world title is closing the show.
Yeah.
Like, the only way I see, like, the World Heavyweight title match not closing the show is if we actually get The Rock returning.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The Rock or Roman Reigns. One of those two. At that moment, you're like, yeah, that's the reason why the tag match will main event. If it's not, well, then there's no big return.
What I would crack up at is if Judgment Day does interfere, they not only attack Damian, but they also attack Seth, leaving it open for Mr. Money in the Bank to cash in. I can see that happening.
Anything is possible.
It's like, oh, why would they lay out Seth? Did you not hear what Seth said to Finn this past week? I mean,
precisely.
Seth should have.
There's continuity here.
And hell, I know what Drew said on Raw, saying, like, I'm going to cash it in on the night, but this is Drew we're talking about. I don't see him actually cashing in on the night. I'm seeing him just teasing it.
Trying to bait CM Punk to show up, huh?
Yeah, he's going to bait CM Punk in, and he's going to be ready for him this time. For all we know, he might smack Punk with the briefcase and still get... It's like, regardless of who wins, regardless of Money in the Bank winner cashes in, regardless if Seth wins, Damian wins, you're not losing to the ring general. Like, I feel like they're switching the title around so many times because they know once they strap the rocket ship to Gunther, it's going to be all... I said this to Steve. I think Gunther's beating Seth's record. I think he's breaking Seth's record.
Hell, I think he's breaking his Intercontinental title record.
Dude, he's holding it till I'm calling it right now. He's holding it till at least 2027. That's a little bit too long. Probably 2026 at least. Yeah. He's holding it for a while. They're getting this ready.
Yeah, honestly, he might lose the title.
I suggested and have Drew cash in on the Gunther Punk match sort of thing, and that being the case, I think you'd have Gunther win the Rumble. Like, no doubt.
Perhaps, yeah. That's if Gunther doesn't win it. If he's not winning it at SummerSlam, he's definitely winning at WrestleMania.
Yeah, if Gunther doesn't win at SummerSlam, he's winning the Rumble.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, who wins the Rumble?
But absolutely.
Someone threw out the idea that Balor wins the Rumble next year. We're like, away from the Rumble.
Yeah, but absolutely, I would love Gunther to actually win the world title at SummerSlam and keep on the dominance he's on, because otherwise, he's just going to chill for 5 months.
Exactly, not really much to do. Have him hold the world title, do the Ilya match at Bash in Berlin. So, why would you do it early? What else would you do at Bash in Berlin?
Bingo.
You do Drew back. Yeah, so I think that's where they go. Regardless, I think that the ring general's taking the title. And, I really do hope that Damian retains. I really think that you don't go from Jey Uso, no offense to the guy, you don't go from Jey Uso to Drew McIntyre to freaking Seth Rollins only to lose to Seth Rollins. But I went past it, put it past Big Nose. I love Triple H, but let's be honest, that's my new nickname for him. With Big Nose to freaking give it to his golden goose. Which Seth would only have for 3 weeks. Yeah,
that'd be the big problem. Yeah, he wouldn't have it for very long.
Nobody's talked about that. Like, let's bring that up. Go ahead, boys.
Technically 4 weeks.
3 weeks.
But 4 weeks, actually.
4?
Yeah.
4. Someone said 3.
Yeah, SummerSlam is 4 weeks after.
That's a short-ass title reign if that was the case.
Yeah, that's 28 days apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, hot potato, like, I get why you would want to hot potato the belt, but, I mean, in this case, you kind of should wait to do a hot potato.
And I don't think they want Seth to be transitional champion. I just don't feel like... I think Seth's an exception with that. I mean, in Becky, it was kind of obvious she wants to do it. That's fine. I don't know about Seth. I don't know if he wants to do that or not. If he wants, that's great. But I feel like...
Yeah, Becky was stepping away, too.
What's up, bro?
Becky did it because, remember, she was stepping away.
And Seth came back far sooner than we thought. I think the dude's still banged up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It makes you question why they called him back too soon. But, yeah, I think he's still banged up. And that's going to play if he wins the world title, because you got Gunther in there who's going to literally chop that man apart. You got the big story in there. But you also have the story of Damian Priest and Finn Balor at SummerSlam last year. So which one do you go with, WWE? Do you go with the story from SummerSlam last year, or do you go with the dominance of the ring general picking apart the former World Heavyweight Champion? Also, Seth being the first, so far, the only wrestler to win that title back-to-back. Which, I'm sorry, that's not fair. That's not fair to anybody else. That's just me.
I would not like that either, to be honest.
What's that, bro?
I would not like that either. Seth Rollins had his moment. He had over 300 days as World Heavyweight Champion.
300 days! Inaugural reign!
And a lot of it, honestly, should not have been the case, because especially if he was, like, you know, the workhorse champion, I'm like, should not have been over 300 days, because it came at the expense of Finn Balor and even, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Man, you had the interaction with Gunther and Seth a few months ago with that. And of course, you had him like coming out a few weeks ago saying, regardless whoever wins, I'll be waiting for you. So it's like they're gonna go the way they want. There's more story with Damian Priest retaining than him losing. It's like, oh, Liv Morgan could cost him. No, it makes sense for Finn to cost Damian. It makes more sense for Finn. He has no issue with like freaking chicken nuggets Dom. I was about to say something else. He has no issue with JD. He has no issue with anybody else except when Carlito's just there. He has no issue with anybody else except Balor. So it makes sense for Balor to be the one to cost him. But Balor's tag team champion. And do you really want to pull the trigger this shit on Balor? You want to pull the trigger on Balor and Priest when one's tag team champion? Wouldn't they have to lose in the lead up?
Pretty much.
He probably will.
So yeah, like I just feel like that they're gonna do the turn at SummerSlam. It just makes more sense for it to happen there than Money in the Bank. Have it happen a big dude. It's gonna be a stadium. Just saying, have them turn at SummerSlam. And I really want to see Priest and Gunther. I really want to see that match. I mean, Seth and Gunther happened in 2019. It was short. It happened. It ended in DQ. But I'm cool with the way.
They also did have a confrontation earlier this year as their respective champions.
They did. They have a confrontation this year.
And Gunther, praised Seth Rollins for being a workhorse champ despite his injury.
I just really hope Triple H knows what he's doing. Like, don't rush Seth back to give him the title just to hot potato the belt.
I think that Triple H knows what he's doing. He's a guy who really prefers like the long-term plans here.
That's why that's why his boy was champ for so long. 300 plus. I'm not trying to make this all about Seth, but it's like, bro, like I'm seeing a lot of fans saying Seth should win this match. Like, not really. I mean, for all we know, Drew McIntyre could succeed in his cash-in. He could.
You never know.
He could.
It's absolutely
and then he goes on to get beat by Gunther.
You see, this is why it's absolutely unpredictable. This whole event. This whole show is unpredictable. Whether it's the Money in the Bank ladder matches, the World Title match, the Intercontinental Title match. I think the only one that could be predictable is the 6-man tag match of the Bloodline. But even then, anything could happen there. So all 5 of these matches. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. And of course, well, on that note, folks, that's going to conclude our predictions to Money in the Bank. And of course, well, that also concluded our predictions of NXT Heatwave. Almost 3.5 hours into this podcast.
Yeah, we watched 3 hours of Raw anyways. We can do a 5-hour podcast, which we've done before.
We've done an almost 7-hour podcast one time.
Never again, folks. Never again.
But regardless, this just goes to show that like this upcoming weekend is absolutely wild. And Toronto, I'm so fucking lucky it's in my hometown.
Yeah, man.
All the shit that I'm about to witness this weekend, I guarantee it's going to be memorable. All the shit I'm going to witness even at SummerSlam. As I mentioned before, there's going to be no podcast for SummerSlam in Cleveland because I'm going to be off on summer vacation, whether it's in Virginia or New York or Toronto again, and of course being Cleveland. I'm going to be arriving early in Cleveland to spend time down there. It's just that I want to be up, so I'll be off at that point. And once again, as you guys know, content might slow down again, but that's because I got that along with of course other medical situations I got to deal with. But I'm good though. Yeah. I'm having a good time. I seem to be doing good. I managed to go through a 3.5 hour podcast here.
Yeah.
Every time I hang out with you guys, it's always fun. Tyler, of course, I have not seen you on the podcast in years, so once again, welcome back. And after all the analogies the analogies you've been given, you are absolutely welcome for future episodes.
Oh hell yeah, anytime, man. Like, legitimately, I love chatting about pro wrestling. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and even on like when I talk about even like the virtual sense of like when I'm involved in like eFed stuff and that kind of thing, like whether it be virtual in 2K and that kind of thing, or if it's the actual in-ring product, I love talking about it in general, and I'm happy to be back whenever.
Yep. Steep as well. You know, man, you've been on the podcast so many times and you always give great analogies every time.
I appreciate it. It's an honor being here. I absolutely love it. I look forward to this every time I'm on here, and I try to be on here as much as I can.
Yep. And of course, Heel Balor, I will leave you to finish it off.
Always a pleasure. We'll see y'all for All In.
All in London. We'll be seeing you guys in almost 2 months.
Yeah,
2 months.
We're going all in.
We're going all in. You'll see us in All In. And I'm the Heels to Balor's. That's Christian Miracle. That's Steve's the right-hand man. That's Tyler, everyone's favorite Aussie, oi. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Just sweep the like button down below and subscribe to Christian Miracle. And we'll see you on the next one. Too sweet and peace out. We are the losers, and this is our lounge.